You know how every time you and I record the podcast, we're both like super tired and
Yes.
we're all out of it. We're all both like always chugging like coffee.
Yeah.
We're trying as hard as we can not to fall asleep the entire
Is
time.
now not exactly that.
Well, no, but I just wanted to say that this week I've also got a headache. So like,
Oh, good.
we're in for a real treat for everybody. I don't know if it's going to give me more power or less power or equal amounts
What if
of power
it
as normal.
cures your headache?
The podcast?
Yeah.
Well, I did just take 2 ibuprofen, so I
Take 2 ibuprofen and do a 2-hour podcast and then call me in the morning.
take 2 of these, listen to the RageSelect podcast. Guaranteed to cure what ails ya. That's the new subtitle. Welcome back, everybody, to the cure for all ailments, the RageSelect podcast here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
I'm Amanda. The cause of and answer to all of your ailments.
It's like even and out.
True neutral.
Oh God, yes.
RageSelect. It's a lateral move, really.
RageSelect. I guess.
Wow. All these are going on a shirt.
Yep. We got a lot of weird news this week.
Yeah?
There's no
Good
unifying
weird or bad weird?
unifying factor. Some good, some bad. You take them both, you know.
There you have the facts of life.
So yeah, we got a lot of really weird news. I don't know what order to put it in when I was doing it, but before we get to that news, I watched something last week and I have some feelings about it.
Oh yeah?
Uh-huh.
What thing?
I was going to watch it 2 weeks ago, or maybe it wasn't out 2 weeks ago, but I watched Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, nice.
Yep, because it came on to Shudder.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to leave the house. So,
That's fair.
And I was a little torn. I think that part of it, I don't know. I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah.
Because I think that this might be a weird age thing where I was like, I like the time period that took place in. Like I wasn't
the 70s.
I wasn't alive, but growing up in like
You
the
saw
early
the residual
80s.
70s left over. Yeah.
And like, I don't know if this is really fair, but like some of the way that the cameras were shooting and like the film effects that they were putting on stuff, like kind of seemed a little bit too new. Like it didn't.
Yeah.
They were trying as hard as they could to kind of put this veneer of 70s over it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was I thought the story was like a little slow because really most of it, the big stuff happens like in the last like 30 minutes, of the movie, 20, 30 minutes of the movie. And the build up to it, I got what they were going for, where like they've kind of got this meta plot about the ratings and the guy. And for anybody who doesn't know, it's like a fictitious late night show.
Yeah, he's a big competition with Johnny Carson.
Yes, and like it's Polka Dot Man. He's the main guy. The ratings are kind of going down, and it's like their big Halloween show. There's all this personal stuff and there's professional stuff and that's going on.
Yeah,
I felt like there was maybe too many threads there where they didn't ever get me fully invested in like the trials and tribulations of the host.
Yeah.
Which I feel like was what would keep you occupied until kind of things start turning.
Yeah, there wasn't enough to make you like care about him.
Yeah.
Enough, but I don't know. When I watched it, not that it's fair to do this, but when John and I went to go see it, it kind of played off to me like one of those late night movies that you like half asleep, 2 a.m. and they put on a horror movie and on TBS or something, and it's Late Night with the Devil, and that's the time you watch it and enjoy it, as opposed to like
making a big deal.
Going to the theater,
right.
Or like we all decided we're all going to get together and we're going to watch Late Night with the Devil,
right.
or whatever. Like it's
the collective hype of Twitter and like people talking about it. And, oh my God, you got to see this, as opposed to just like turning something on and being like, "What's that?" And then you're like, "Oh shit, that was good."
Yeah. So this had like the little bit of controversy to it that I think got it more attention.
Oh yeah, with the AI stuff.
The AI, the 3 AI images.
Yeah.
And if that didn't happen, I don't know if people would be talking about this movie as much. I think it would have, like, horror fans would be like, oh, if you really want to see like a fun different take on the like found footage,
yeah,
this is it fits with a lot of those.
Right.
Like it's not 100% found footage, but it is, but it's not.
It would have been more like You'll Never Find Me, that that one where they're in the trailer that I was talking about a few weeks back. Where like I don't hear anybody talking about that, even though it was like super highly rated. Or even like what was last year? The one with It Comes at Night, or the front cover has the person with the axe like pointed at their face. The Italian one that I really liked. I really liked that one, and it was like I didn't hear that many people. Like it's weird the things that break through, because it's like I really liked that movie, but then I watched Talk to Me, and I was like, part of that was just because the teenagers were teenagers, and so I hated them because they were teenagers.
Yeah.
But here it was like I almost wish that the main. Like, they kind of do a little stuff. I wish that the main character was a little bit... I wish they just turned him up a little bit more. Like, that he was kind of like this sleaze bag, and he cared about ratings, but then he also kind of had like legit feelings. There's some stuff with his wife that ends up like being a foil for him. And it's weird because like I got what they were like. There's a thing at the end of the movie that's kind of trying to nail down this plot point that comes up, that's mentioned a few times, and it kind of ties into what's happening in the movie. And I wish that it had been a little bit more like nailed down. It's just a thing that I prefer in movies where sometimes they're a little too subtle with like, we're gonna mention this. It was like, well, you wouldn't mention it unless it was important, and then it comes up two more times and you're like, well, obviously this has something to do with what we're doing. So like, I thought it was like a good, you know what, I think it is a perfect movie to be on Shudder for people who have Shudder subscriptions and go, I heard about this, let me check it out, as opposed to like getting yourself all worked up for it.
I told John when we watched, because I really enjoyed it. I thought it like if I don't really do ratings, but like if I graded it, it'd be like a B. You know what I mean? Like it's not a bad movie. Nothing about it was horrible. It had stuff that it could easily improve on, but it's also like an indie film. And, you know what would be great? It's 90 minutes long. It would be a great like double feature. Like if you did that, and then I don't know, take your pick. Like either a found footage or something with a. You can do a lot of different stuff. There's a couple
like
of
possession movies, or
I don't remember the name of them, but there's a couple of different movies that do like the news station horror movies. I mean, even like Wreck would be a good one.
What was that one? Was it Pontypool? Was that the one where it was like the radio station, and then the people were turning into zombies outside of the radio station?
Yes, that sounds right.
I could be wrong.
I'm not like 100% on it. I know of Pontypool, but I haven't actually seen it.
I will say this though, like, I tell you what, I know this was an ultra low budget production. And that getting this David Dasmalchian, he was very good. He's got a real kind of like handsome but vacant kind of like
handsome but vacant. That's how I like my men.
And then I really thought that this Ingrid Torelli, the little girl played Lily, she was like really good. She was really mesmerizing.
Adore how she worked the cam. Like she was like constantly just staring directly into the camera. And I would be like, I'm sorry. I made eye contact. That's my bad. I'll look away. You do whatever you got to. Like, she just made me like uncomfortable a little bit. I thought she did really good.
Also, there was a point. I can't keep doing it forever, but like there was a point in there was one thing that clanged a little bit to me, where there was a point in the movie where it was like, oh, you, the person that's watching, is being manipulated, and then we're gonna go back and show how you were being manipulated, and it was a little like that was a little gimmicky.
That
like,
was probably my least favorite part.
But by and large, enjoyable. I mean, I think Shudder's got a good. They're kind of hit and miss, kind of up and down. Some stuff I've really liked. Some stuff.
Horror is like that though, because the genre is so all over the place. Like, you know, not every movie can be Skinamarink.
Well, you know what? The thing is that I really like horror. A lot of people pointed this out, and one of the reasons that I think I keep going back, and even when I don't like a horror movie, like I really didn't like Smile, but I you know, they tend to be more on the 90-minute side, and it's one of the few places left where somebody can get like $5 million and make a whole movie that you get to the end of and you're just like, that was weird and different and I've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah, the guy that did the Backrooms videos on YouTube, they were like they were popular enough that I think Blumhouse maybe was like, do you want to direct a movie on it? Like, no other genre would they be like, oh, your short the YouTube films were really fun, do you want to just direct a feature-length film?
Man, I don't know what you're talking about. I've turned down multiple Marvel movies.
Yeah,
They've asked me.
I bet. What character would they have even offered you, Jeff?
Let's see. Speedball.
Of all of them, just like a random.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like the Leader biopic. It was just no. But I don't know. It was fine. I'm looking forward though. I saw the that Monkey Man, Monkey King,
the Dev Patel's Monkey Man
is out on VOD this week, and I really wanted to see that, and I'm glad that it's gone from it had like big theaters and they're not just like trying to hold on to it in the theaters forever, and then they're just like, here, everybody who wants to see it at home. So I
will say, because I saw that too, I will say that I think it's very good. I will say you might feel the same way about it that you do about Late Night with the Devil, except
overhyped
for action.
I
don't know, overhyped. I don't know how hyped it is. But it's like a solid B, where it's like it's a great first showing for like a directorial debut for Dev Patel. But it's not like
it's not going to blast your brains out.
Yeah. It's
all right.
Good. It's solid, but it's not. I don't think it's anything like above and beyond anything. Like, it'll fit in if you like, I want to watch John Wick. I want to watch something that's not John Wick, but like kind of John Wick.
Well, you know, the thing is that I didn't with Late Night with the Devil, but with this one, I'll probably make it my Saturday night drinking movie.
Yeah.
And I always have a better time when I, get to the end of an action movie and I'm like 7 beers in. So, unless that movie is Dune 2. Dune Part 2. Let's see. Have you watched anything? You listen to anything? You do anything interesting?
No. The only thing I've really been doing is keeping up with X-Men 97. And
I'm like 4 or 5 episodes behind now.
Fuck, man, that shit gets dark.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I think the last one I saw was the Goblin Queen, that one, and that was pretty dark already. I was like, shit, man.
Oh, yeah. That was a walk in the park, man.
Oh, cool. All right.
But I had one of my coworkers we were talking about it. Me and one of my other coworkers have been keeping up with it, so we like give each other a rundown. And then this young girl that we work with was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about just like binging it." And we were like, "I don't know if you want to do that. It's kind of dark for binging, but like, I mean, do it if you want."
Speaking of dark, did you see that it wasn't really all that dark, but the Wolverine and Deadpool, they put out a new trailer for that this week.
Yeah.
There was a character at the end there that I'm just like, like when I heard that they were going to make a Legion TV show, and I'm like, that Legion? And they were like, yes, that Legion. I was like, whoo, you guys are swinging for the fences on this. And
they do better when they swing, though.
But sometimes it's the New Mutants. But
we don't talk about.
But not that I haven't watched New Mutants. It could be good. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I will say I don't want to specifically say it just in case somebody is listening that hasn't watched the trailer and wants to go in blind, but they showed an antagonist at the end, very briefly of this trailer, and that character in this universe is like, oh shit, because that's a Grant Morrison weirdo character.
Yeah, so I didn't know who that character was and had to have John give me like a full rundown of that character. and then it just sounded like Bonkers Town. Like I just didn't. What do you mean?
Yeah.
But like why? But okay, you know what? I might just have to step back and just let this one be because I don't understand.
It'd be like if they put X-Man in. They put like
so weird.
something like that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you just be like, what? I don't know. People are really excited for it. I will say that not to be a pooper, but like I didn't like Deadpool 2 nearly as much as Deadpool 1. Like I thought it was fine.
Deadpool 2, so I don't even know.
I thought it was fine, but it was more convoluted. Deadpool 1 was like John Wick 1. It was like very just like
straightforward.
Here's your thing.
Yep.
Let's do it. Good quips.
Well, I think the interesting thing in this is bringing it into the MCU.
Yeah.
But having said that, I don't give two fucks about the MCU right now. So like I'm not gonna. I haven't watched any. Like, even if it's like super entrenched in it, how the fuck would I know? Because I haven't watched the last like 4 or 5 movies.
But the funny thing is, it's like, well, this is bringing Deadpool into the MCU. How? By having Deadpool, a non-MCU character, team with Wolverine, a non-MCU character, and it's just like, so in order to get people interested,
but the whole thing is a mission from the fucking time police.
The TVA, yeah. But still, it's just like this.
I know.
This just shows you the state of the MCU, where it's like, to get you excited in it, we're taking 2 characters that are not even in this universe and shoving them in here. X-Men 97 is the thing that people are most excited about for superheroes right now.
Which is also in the MCU, if you think about it, because it's connected to the What If series.
Yes, it's also you had Yellow Chair Charles Xavier in Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, that's true. But you also had John Krasinski, and therefore I do not acknowledge it.
Well, I tell you what. Here's something you might want to acknowledge. Video game news, because that's what we're here for. Let's see. The big thing we're going to start out with this week, because there wasn't anything very specific, is we got a showcase for Metaphor ReFantazio.
ReFantazio.
Which is...
That's a great word.
Yeah. It took me like 6 stories on this before I could remember the name. This is the new... RPG that is being made by the Persona guys.
Okay.
And it's like, it's a lot like, so, and we had a lot of trailers with weird shit, like a lot of very weird iconography.
Dude, am I going to go home after this podcast and have nightmares?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I'm seeing like...
It's just weird stuff.
I know, but like you surround me with weird stuff and I'm going to start getting like freaked out seeing stuff in the corner of my eyes.
Nah, it's just a bunch of,
okay, first of all, that was a fucking sandworm with a human face on it and then like a serpent tongue coming out.
Yeah.
So don't tell me it's just kind of weird.
That's kind of weird.
That's
just kind of weird.
That's pretty weird.
So we got some specifics here that we didn't have before. Before it was mostly just kind of like flashy trailers, like the beginning of this.
Yeah.
But we actually got a big bunch of information about like what the game's about, how it plays, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And the answer is that it's kind of a just medieval fantasy Persona game almost. So the baseline
is that does that make you more interested?
Yes. Well, the thing is that I think that I don't know if this is the exact team, but I know that this group at Atlas, they either make Shin Megami Tensei or they make Persona. And the only time they haven't done that is when they made like Catherine, which was very weird.
I liked how weird Catherine was, though.
And I like how this is weird too. And so this is this weird medieval fantasy world that's full of like, they've got like elves and bunny people and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
The king is assassinated, and that triggers this automatic magical election where after a certain amount of time, every person in the kingdom can vote for anybody to be the next ruler regardless of their status. And so you play as a young man that's going around trying to like get the votes.
Hi, vote for me.
by doing
hello.
By doing by solving people's problems and making connections with people. So there's a big like connection bit like there is in Persona, where you're trying to open a like raise a little connection meter with all the different people that you meet. And then like as you meet those people, you unlock these, like, they're basically the personas, like different classes, but then everybody can do different, they're like more generic than they were in Persona. So like in Persona, the character would have a very specific persona,
right?
And here it's like an archetype. It'll be like a healer or like a brawler or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's got a time limit, like Persona, because you have a certain amount of time until the election has to happen. So you have to make decisions about where you want to go and what you want to do. You're rolling around in a giant, like I think you saw it here in this trailer, but you're rolling around in a giant, like, it's like an airship, but with legs instead of like a ship on top. So it's like, what if like a yacht had giant monster legs,
also a spider,
right, that were just like blapping around the world. I like how fucking weird it is. I like how it looks a lot like it has a lot of shades of Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, because like Persona has like weird guys, but Devil Summoner is generally like there's been a like the actual apocalypse and demons run the world and you've got to go out and fight them, and so you've got a lot more kind of weird dudes.
I really like that in video games, in Japanese video games, they really embrace like throwing like body parts together and being like, this is what it is. I don't know, an egg with legs. Fight that for a while.
Yep. One of the things that I really like, one of the things that's making me desperately, actually, that made me way more interested in this game than I ever knew, and I saw it when they were showing the gameplay. So up until now, there's been a lot of like gameplay showing like turn-based combat, like the Persona games. But in this trailer, I was seeing a lot of this stuff where the protagonist would just run up and like hit guys on the field without going into combat. So it turns out in this game that if you're above the level of the monster, you just beat them automatically and get the experience points for them. And I'm just like, oh shit, yes please. But then there's also weird stuff like it starts out in our world, and they like there's with this question of like,
but our world is the worst of all.
Do you think that like fantasy can affect the world, like yes or no? And there's some kind of weird meta thing where it's like the game is a story, but then they're aware that somebody is playing it or like reading the story type of thing. There's a lot of like craziness. Like you've seen they say in here the title is meant to evoke like a city street. That's why it like angles down and it has the big A in the middle, like a tower, right? Like you're walking down towards something. They show in part of this that like at the beginning of the game, you have a little fairy that's around you, and she's like, I don't know much magic, but I can cast this one spell, and it's the spell that turns on the music in the game. She's like, I'm very musical, and I can help you stay upbeat. Here you go. And like
she's a bard.
Background music starts. So like there's a lot of like I just do.
You think there's something like hidden in there about all that?
Maybe
do they make games where it kind of does that? Like the only little meta, a little fourth wall breaky, a little.
Yeah, there you go. That's the scene where she's casting the background music on you. The only game I can think of that did that was Nier Automata, like where you would unlock the ability to like save or go into like the options menu or stuff by updating your character's like firmware. But I don't know. I'm a super duper sucker for that meta shit, for that like talking to you, the player, through the game kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, outside of that, they show a little bit of like these kind of bustling towns. They kind of have this weird like color grading on the screen that kind of makes these towns. It's weird because I don't know if you're picking up on this, but like if you look at the fonts, a lot of these fonts on the screen look like the font on American money. Like on money.
Yeah.
And then in the background, they've got this weird filter that goes from like orange to green to gray.
Yeah.
Like what you would, like the color of green that you would see on money.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's like.
Maybe you're just thinking about money a lot.
Like because you're in town, you're evoking kind of the idea of like wealth. But then it's got all these other strange, like again, most video games have this really poppin' color palette where it's just like super saturated. And so it's weird to see something with just like, these fonts that are kind of clangy and like this weird gradient over stuff. Like
it's weird. I noticed the gradient, but I wasn't conscious of it. Do you know what I mean? Where I wasn't like, here's why it is.
You can skateboard on your sword.
Is that what it is? Oh my God, that's so funny. I thought he was just like flying a little because I couldn't see what was under his feet.
Yeah.
I'm further from the screen.
So everything that I'm seeing here just looks very weird and different. And to me, that's a good thing. Like, I have preferred the direction that Atlas has taken their RPGs as opposed to the direction that Square Enix has taken their RPGs. Like, I liked Final Fantasy 16, but I didn't like the 7 and remake, all that stuff. But
you monster!
I know. Whatever. History's greatest monster.
Leave your hate comments down below.
Yeah. I made some passing comment about Kingdom Hearts, and somebody was like, "Jeff, you guys shut up about Kingdom Hearts."
Oh
I'm just
my God! No, God.
Why do you think I don't make passing comments about Kingdom Hearts?
Leave your hate comments about Kingdom Hearts down below.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some more stuff in here. I mean, like, part of it is really like super mechanical. They did have an interesting thing where they talk about, you can see like the number of days it takes to get to a place.
Oh, yeah.
And that like when you do that, like then like it doesn't just automatically take you there. Like your ship starts walking there, and then you can do stuff like you can.
Come on, ship, run!
You can like chat with your friends, or like cook a meal, or take a bath, or et cetera, et cetera.
That's
so
nice. You don't have to look for like a campsite because you bring your home with you.
It's also,
is this Howl's Moving Castle?
Yes, kind of. It's also, would you call it steampunk? Like, it's kind of steampunk.
It's got a steampunky vibe, but it's not.
But not like all the way.
It's not like in your face about it. I feel like there'd be more like gears and top hats and monocles.
Not as many gears, not as much like smoke and steam. Yeah. Right? Like, it's almost like steampunk by way of like magical powers instead of steam power. I don't know. Hard to say. But yeah, the whole thing to me is it's looking nice. And we didn't have a release date until now, but we got October 11th of this year. Ooh. It's coming out. So that's strange because that means that we got Persona 3 in like February, the Persona 3 remake in February, and then like this game, they're really cranking them out.
That's enough time in between them.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just
it's not like it's like February and then like May or something.
It's like the Yakuza games where there was like one every year for a little while, and I was just like, I'm used to one of these coming out like every 5 years. Yeah. It just seems like a pretty manic schedule. And then this is the year for a game like this where you're not competing with Baldur's Gate or stuff like that. I guess it'll be competing with the Final Fantasy VII Part 2 remake, but like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Anyway, I love it. Everybody should go watch this little showcase. It's got a lot of crazy shit. Like, these are your little Persona guys. These kind of like metal rock monster dudes.
Rock monster.
Yep. But I tell you what, there is one thing that it won't have, and that is romance.
Oh, then I don't want it.
They confirmed.
If I can't fuck one of those bunny people, then what's the point?
Yeah. So most of the Persona games have had romance options. And this has been a real weird, divisive point amongst the community. Like, they said that they didn't want to. So on the one hand, people like the ability to choose a romantic option in a video game from time to time, even though those options were always very like mid. Like, they weren't, you go on 4 dates and then it's like, oh, you're in a relationship. It's like old school romance in video games. But what that meant, I was reading about this today, when people pointed out on Twitter, what that meant was that like, so because of that, all of your main characters have to be available to be romanced by the main character of the game, and none of them can romance each other in spite of how the story will make it seem like they're very close.
Yeah.
They all have to remain open for the main character to be able to go on a date with, because you want to give gamers cookies. So I saw a lot of like kind of bitter fighting on Twitter about this, where people were like, "Oh, thank God!" Like the romance was always just like, "This is my favorite franchise," but the romance was always such an afterthought, and it was always like semi well written. And then people are like, "Oh, so this is your favorite franchise, but the romance isn't any good in it? How could that be?" And it was just like, "Well, I didn't want." And it's like, so
yeah,
a lot of fans.
Sometimes romance in video games feels like the internet personality quizzes, where like. Yeah, it's kind of fun to like see what you get, but it's also not really giving you much of anything.
I'm not a big fan of romance in video games. I think
it depends on the video game.
I think you should do romance. Well, unless it's Monster Prom, like
yeah. I mean, listen, Saints Row was great, where you could just like fuck everybody.
Oh well, sure. Yes, well, let me be very clear. When I say romance, I mean like dating and relationships. I have no problem with video game characters.
I'm sorry, you don't like
fucking
Garrus
each other.
Vicarian? I'm so sorry that you didn't enjoy one of the greatest love stories of our generation.
Absolutely. I do not care who Garrus has sex with. I don't care who Shepard has sex with for that. God. Yeah, I got that shit out of my system a long time ago. But people care.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a place for it, but it doesn't have to be so often, and it's not, to me, a requirement for a game.
I think that there was somebody who conjectured that like, well, this means that you could have like an actual canonical romance story with the main character that was like well developed and occurred over time, as opposed to just being like, well, pick from any of our.
Do you like the hot one,
right?
Or the hot one,
right? Pick out of any of these waifus and choose your waifu, choose your husbando, like so. Yeah. So that was Metaphor ReFantazio. Let's see. There was a big story this week about business, but I wanted to have some nice, fun JRPG talking before we got to the business
God, are we going
nonsense.
To business?
We got to go to business.
Am I getting fired? You have to tell me.
We're doing the business. It's time. It's business time.
It's business.
So, Embracer Group. The giant fucking trash fire that's been rolling through the video game industry for a long time has a new thing for everybody. There's new trash.
Yay!
It's all on fire. Now, what we're doing is we're taking the existing trash fire and we're going to divide it into 3 parts.
Everyone gets a little bit of trash.
So Embracer Group is dissolving and is being divided into 3 separate companies. I will talk about what this is once I talk about what this is.
Good plan.
So the 3 companies that specifically are being created are Asmodee Group, which was an existing company that Embracer bought that is primarily focused on board games. So they do publishing for like
physical
board games, card games, stuff like that, physical games. And then Coffee Stain and Friends. Coffee Stain Studios, they're like the guys that make like Goat Simulator. They were bought by Embracer a long time ago. Coffee Stain and Friends, which will basically be in charge of single and double A games. So like indies and stuff with a little bit more of a thing. And then finally, Middle Earth and Friends, which will be in charge of like the AAA games and like the licensed properties that Embracer hoovered up over time.
Yeah.
Part of this I actually learned because I dug into this really hard. The reason for this is there's many reasons. One, the name Embracer Group is now tainted, right? Like people don't want to do business with this horrible failed company that did all this stupid bullshit. So it's like you're going to split them up into Asmodee is an existing brand, Coffee Stain is an existing brand, Middle Earth is an existing brand, right? People have preconceived notions about all of these names.
Yeah.
So you're getting out from underneath this kind of shadow of failure that Embracer has. 2, Embracer is about $1.5 billion in debt.
Ooh.
I read a very long article from a business dev or business person that talked about how like they never made money. Like what would happen is they would, back in like starting like about 10 years ago when interest rates were incredibly low, what would happen is they would borrow money at incredibly low interest rates. They would use that money to acquire like a studio or several studios, then that would like raise their corporate profile and make them a bigger company, which would then allow them to take out a larger loan to buy a larger company. And the thing is that they never stopped doing this until they hit that roadblock where the last thing they were supposed to get was $2 billion from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And when they didn't get that, it was suddenly like, well, now we're holding the bag, because they didn't grow in a way where like, well, we bought this company and then they made this game and then it paid off what we got from them, or back into the black. And so we're going to extend a little bit more. We're going to get another company. They didn't do it slowly. They spent 10 years on a mad spending spree buying all this stuff, and they didn't ever factor into like it was fine as long as the bill never came due. And I don't understand how the business people do this shit.
Yeah.
But it seems like I don't want to hammer on them too hard, because it seems like every business is like, debt schmet, let's spend $70 billion on Activision Blizzard. Whatever, man. It's going to come back over time.
That's what I don't understand, though. Like, don't they hire people that, like, project what's going to happen? Like, isn't there somebody there that's supposed to be, like, warning them about this sort of thing?
So, okay. One, I remember hearing this on a podcast one time, so I can't, this isn't a direct answer, but, like, I think that any business manager is going to tell you, you don't want money sitting in your bank account because it's not making you any money. You want to take that money and you want to buy something that's going to make you money, like another game studio.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you don't even want to have a zero balance. If you have equity, you want to leverage that equity into a loan to be buying something that's going to keep making you money, because the worst part is you'll have to stop and pay the loan back a little bit of time, but you never want to be sitting at either zero or positive balance, because that's money that's not being used. That's money that is not doing anything for your company. Company's whole purpose is to make money.
Yeah.
Everything else is number two or lower. So you want to be leveraged to the hilt. Unfortunately,
they went a little too hard.
If you never make any money, right? Like, then you hit this wall, and especially if you're relying on greater and greater loans to pay off your previous loans and to pay for the operating expenses of your company, you will eventually, you need to slow that process down and then start working at the debt. You can't just have unlimited debt, because eventually you have to, the guy at the bank wants his money back.
Somebody's going to want that money. Yeah.
So now the question is how did they not see this coming? I am convinced. This is a feeling, and I could be wrong.
Going on vibes.
I am convinced that the people that run like finance in the business world are fucking idiots. Like, because the thing is that I don't think you had to be some kind of fucking clairvoyant to see inflation is getting out of control. The Fed is signaling that they're going to raise interest rates. Higher interest rates are going to mean less venture capital. It's mean you're not going to be able to take out huge loans with zero interest like you would in the VC days. The crypto bubble burst. The VC stuff, like a lot of money just kind of went away during crypto because it got invested into something that then went to zero. A lot of corporations are hoovering up disposable income. People had a lot of disposable income during the pandemic. They stopped. As the pandemic ended, video game sales started to go down. I think that everybody wanted to just be like, I don't think business is good at looking forward and proactively making moves. I think they're good at reacting. Like, because what's the deal? Like, from a business perspective, I don't get this, but like, what would be the point of putting on the brakes if your current strategy is making money because you're starting to smell that there might be a change coming in the wind? Like, you don't, like, it's not the CEOs that ever get fired. So like, okay, business took a downturn and we're going to liquidate 5,000 people. But like I'm not going to lose my job. 5,000 fucking dum-dums are going to lose their job.
I guess if you like can detach yourself from like humans, and just think about the dollar and math of like a business.
Yes.
Then I guess it makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, it's so weird to me how many times we get these stories where it's like, and this business was like, we got a boom because of a unprecedented event.
Right.
Surely it'll stay like this forever. And it's just like, there's no way you didn't at one point go, maybe this isn't going to stay. And like, you don't have to stop, but don't go as hard or don't try to push it. You know what I mean?
I personally rack all of that. I chalk all of that up to the fact that I've been saying these stories about these companies for most of this year and a big chunk of last year. Not one of them has this failure resulted in leadership stepping down. Lars Wingefor, the head of Embracer Group, like each one of those three organizations that I just talked about is going to be managed by a specific person, but he is creating a new holding company that is over all three of them and is still going to basically be the primary like investor money guy. This guy shouldn't be doing this anymore. Like you've destroyed video game companies that were around for fucking 25, 30 years with like bad investments. You've killed franchises that people love. Like I don't use this word because I think that like, or I wouldn't say this normally because I think it's too hyperbolic, but in the case of Embracer, it's like, their CEO is a cultural vandal whose bad decisions have destroyed like things that were important to people, like things that were important to our culture by basically thinking you found the infinite money glitch and never looking back. And like, there's a whole interview with him that I read where he's just like, you know, the interviewer asked him like, well, do you think that you made any mistakes over the course of this, you know, leading to this result?
Right,
and he's like, oh yeah, I made tons of mistakes. And they're like, well, like what? And he's like, tons. And just like doesn't,
he's like, oh, I'm not going to tell you.
Doesn't elaborate. At one point he talks about the whole just like, oh, you know, COVID was like that bubbled up a lot of the entertainment industry by everyone's at home. You know, he made some oblique reference to Russia, to the war in Russia, and how like that's affected just business, I guess, in general because of sanctions and currency moving back. I think what he means is that like you can't go get money from Russian investors anymore because there's a lot of fucking rich people over there. I don't know. All I know is that to bring it on back. So they're $1.5 billion in the hole. Yeah. They sold off Saber Interactive and Gearbox Entertainment, which has brought them in, I think it's like $250 million or something like that. Part of this split, and this is the real reason for the split, part of this split is that Asmodee, who was like one of the reasons that they were that much in debt was because most of that money was to buy Asmodee, who was a successful board gaming company. It was like a later acquisition as they were getting into bigger and bigger figures. Asmodee is taking on $950 million worth of debt as part of this. It's basically like Embracer Group has like $1 billion in debt. They're splitting into three, and one of those three companies is taking on most of that debt.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, and I can't really like super duper, I don't have anything super mean to say about this. He specifically talks about how like video games is a volatile industry, right? A game can come out like Saints Row that maybe everybody's telling you is going to sell great, and then it just flops and doesn't sell, right? Board gaming is a solid, vanilla, predictable industry where like hobby shop people that buy board games, they consistently buy board games. They consistently spend the money. Hobby shops will stock physical inventory. You don't have to worry about how many digital copies are we selling. You're going to get orders to put on shelves. It's an old school product. So they are the part of that company that is best equipped to pay back that debt or to reduce that debt because they're going to have a solid quarter by quarter like profit that can be, you know, 10% of that can be shaved off back into the debt to lower it. I think it stinks. I mean, okay, let me put this right. I think that breaking these into three different publishing smaller organizations is not a bad idea because smaller organizations can move faster, right? You're not trying to steer the Titanic. You can pivot. You can cancel stuff without having it be as big, without the trickle down of a failure hitting so many different companies on the way down.
Yeah, right.
On the other hand, there is a protection from being a small studio like Coffee Stain that's under like the way that Double Fine is now a subsidiary of Microsoft. Right. Well, it means that like if Double Fine's next game tanks, They're owned by a $3 trillion corporation.
Yeah, so they're fine in theory.
Right. They can weather that and give them more chances than they would have on like this next game is the end of our company or not. Right.
There's not a lot of make or break.
I think I've been talking for 20 minutes. Do you have any thoughts on this? It's complicated. I spent a million.
It's like capitalism, the board game.
Right.
So Monopoly. But I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired of the whole just gotta own all the different properties and I gotta like absorb it all and then do absolutely nothing with it or make the cheapest product with it and you guys will suffer through it because you like the name or whatever and then you know it doesn't work out one way or another and they absolve it just to or dissolve it just to get out of like debt or to like remanage that debt into a more like a better way for them to handle things, but then they're just going to continue doing what they're doing. It's more just like, I mean, it's just like exhausting to hear sometimes.
I listened to an interesting. It was I'm a semi-controversial YouTuber talk about this idea.
Markiplier.
I am going somewhere with this. This idea that. You know that thing that dudes like to say on the internet about like what good times breed soft men and soft men breed hard times and hard times breed hard men and hard men make sides. Does that sound? It was this kind of concept that like our attitudes as a culture don't go linear, they tend to go in cycles. So like we'll bust up the economy and then we'll learn something from that and then that will have us create a more profitable economy with more conservative moves and better investment and more like protections. And then that'll create this booming economy then where people will recklessly invest in it and then that will then bust it out and then we'll have to learn that nobody's going to learn that lesson because that cycle takes so long that everybody's got to learn it for themselves, so they can't just you know, the problem with that theory is that I've seen this cycle happen like 4 times in my lifetime between like the .com crash and the fucking financial collapse of the housing market and like, you know, this right now at the whole COVID stuff. Like there's been at least 3 big financial catastrophes that I can think of since I've been paying attention. There's probably one in the 80s that I don't know about that I was just too young for.
I was a child witness to.
Right. So I get the frustration, but I'm starting to become a little bit more sanguine because it's just like, I think that maybe the new thing I need to start saying on this podcast, C-suite executives don't care about video games. They own video game companies, but it's the same way that Michael Eisner owned Disney and did not give 2 shits about like the movies, right?
So here's the thing to me with the movie comparison is that I every time you hear the history of movies and the history of emotion, like any like Warner Brothers, Sony, Paramount, MGM, all those big ones, it was always about being a giant business. Right. They were always like, they were so business oriented that they were like, we can own people with like it's so crazy. And then but because I don't know the history of video games as well, to me video games came off a little more passion. You know, like a couple of dudes in their garage make a video game and, you know, everyone loved it or whatever. And then it became a businessman found out you could make money off of this. And now it's a business first and an art form second. I think, well, and that might be just like a romantic idea of it because I don't know the ins and outs of the, like the history of it, but I mean, I think the thing is that it's kind of like it's like a spiral where it was like the amount of money every year. It's an ocean. Kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that as long as it was kind of a niche market where you could make some money or you could make some good money, like you still had a lot of passion in there. But there's a certain point where, you know, like when you're making Grand Theft Auto 5 that makes more than any movie that ever has come out, where you start getting to amounts of money where it's like because the thing is, I want Lars Wingefor to step down. But the thing is that I remember having this conversation when Bobby Kotick was when they were talking about Bobby Kotick and Activision.
the roster of who can run a billion-dollar company is short.
Yeah.
It's not something where it's just like, I don't know, put me, Jeff, in charge. I'll figure it out, right?
Look, like, just maybe give me a shot. I don't know.
I mean, who knows? What could go wrong is bankrupt a billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah. I mean, except they're fucking it up too.
Yes.
So like, who can? I don't know. Me, I can do it. I'll fail for you guys. I don't give a shit. Then you guys can be like, what an idiot. And I'd be like, yeah, my bad, guys.
Well, yeah, but then neither one of us got a degree in business, so...
You don't know what I do or do not have a degree in, Jeff.
Womp, womp. Oh, boy, we're over time!
Oh, no!
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. That was... we got a little bit more business, but it's mostly fun from here on out. Okay. The business is done. It's mostly for fun.
Lean more into the fun.
Yes, we'll do that when we're back in just a minute. Back.
Here we are.
And before we went to break, we were talking about Embracer. One of the AAA games that is being made under the Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth and Friends is hotly anticipated sequel to a very kind of like, I don't know, cult franchise, I would say.
Okay.
A game called Kingdom Come Deliverance. So we got our first trailer for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Mm-hmm. So Kingdom Come Deliverance was a game that came out like 10 years ago or 10 years ago, something like that. And it was this very, very, very realistic medieval like RPG like kind of action game. Yeah. So you started out as a guy and like you started the game and you had to like run away. It was you were in like a little medieval village and you had to run away because soldiers came in and killed everything. But there was like a lot going on where you had to learn how to sword fight, you had to learn how to ride horses, and there was a lot of stats you had to upgrade.
I feel like I faintly remember this.
And like you started out, a lot of people, myself included, got very confused by it because you would start out and you would go to fight a guy, and it would be like, oh, then you just died. Like, because you're just a guy, and you've got like rudimentary sword fighting techniques. You're not like, this isn't Dark Souls, right?
You're just a soft, squishy dude.
And so you're doing it from like a first person perspective, and it was a lot of emphasis on like parrying and stuff like that. But then it had a lot of other RPG stuff about like, you know, you go get jobs at villages, and you could cook, and you're trying to find like equipment, and you level up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never really got super duper into it, but the people that did, like, they got into it.
Yeah.
And so they announced a sequel. You're actually playing as the same guy from the first one.
Oh.
And you're kind of continuing the story about looking for the people that killed your family. And so it's like a first person action game. The trailer for it looks fantastic. Like the
looks
graphics,
super like cinematic.
Yeah.
With the story that's going on.
I also really appreciate that it's got that Witcher 3 people in medieval times dressed like dorks. Like we're not trying to make it look cool.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, they wore...
It is kind of nice. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Because I was just looking at it like, it's not that it looks wrong.
Yeah.
It's that it looks correct and that feels wrong.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Like,
this isn't like,
it's like checking out LARPers where you're like, wow, that's kind of embarrassing, but also very accurate.
Yeah. It's like the difference between the Renaissance Festival and like the King's Knight or whatever, that Heath Ledger movie. No, not the King's Knight. Where it was Sean Connery or whatever.
A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale, right?
That's not Sean Connery, but yes.
Where everybody looked cool.
Yeah.
And here it's like everybody looks like they should have, like they're wearing hats that are dumb and like bright colors and weird like armors and stuff.
Yeah. I like to think there were maidens like, wow.
This is from a company, I mean, like the company that made this are like an Eastern European company that's like, this is all based on like the city that they live in and like the history of it and stuff. Bohemia, I guess. But there is kind of a controversy. There was a controversy with the first one.
Yeah.
10 years ago that came out. And this is one of those things.
They said too sexy. All these knights in shining armor.
Well, the main guy is he's a real Superman ass looking blondie, good looking dude.
Yeah,
but the thing that it was a bit of a controversy was that everybody was white in the entire game, and people were like, "Was everybody in your game white?" And like
they were like, I mean,
it's that conversation we've seen a bunch of times online, where then the director comes out and he's like, "It's based on Europe in the 1600s. Everybody was white then," and people are like, "It's a video game. It's a fiction. You could do like it's not a historic simulator.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that you can't bend the rules a little bit." Anyway, one of the things they said, there was a big thing where they're talking about trying to like expand the kind of the overall geographic like area that the game takes place in, and they're going to have people with a little bit more. I mean, I didn't see anybody but white people in this trailer, but like. I'm not entirely sure how to feel about that, and I hesitate to even bring it up because it's a weird question. Like,
I mean, it's an interesting question that I think can be had without it being I don't know the internet, but like without it devolving into just like a binary wrong or right.
Right. Like Final Fantasy 16 had a very similar thing where the director of that was like, well, this is based on like Europe in the 1600s, and they didn't, there weren't as many.
But it's a Final Fantasy though, like,
right?
Fantasy's right in the word.
This is you could understand it a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, because this looks like it's aiming for like historical realism, accuracy.
Like they have like part of it is they show that they have a new like gun. They have like and it's like an arquebus. It's like one of the first guns where it's just like a big metal tube that only hits people like 2 feet from you type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and you're not seeing anything in here that doesn't look like it doesn't belong in this particular time period.
Yeah. But like at the same time, I don't know. I feel like we're getting into a day and age where it doesn't take people out to have historical inaccuracies and things.
Yes.
Like it's not like, oh, that person had a darker tan than I was expecting.
Right.
Like it just if you do it and you don't call attention to it, I think it's I don't think you would have lost anything if like the people that are in this had different skin tones. You know what I mean?
I
of different cultures.
Yeah, I agree. So, I
can see like both arguments, but
the thing is, like, I've gone back to this well a few times, and I'll just say it again, like. Whenever there's a game to make a character, I make any number of different characters. Sometimes I make lady characters, sometimes I make dude characters, sometimes I make characters of different races, and it's
just
because
grotesque monsters. Every and then there's you've seen us play.
And then there's Loretta. No, and the thing is that I don't need the protagonist of my video game to
look like you.
Look like
You're not
me.
trying to make yourself
right.
Yeah,
I don't need the protagonist of a video game to be. I'm used to like this is an avatar. It's not me. Like I don't feel less immersed if a game is different. Some people do, whatever. I think that dramatically limits the number of games you can play, but whatever. But so for me, it's like I don't think that if I was playing a game like this and there was some historical inaccuracy, one, I don't think I would even notice. And two, I don't think even if I did notice it would be a big deal because it's a video game, not a documentary. So but I don't know. It's nice to see that they're like, they're trying to kind of be like, we heard what you guys said, and we're trying to like make it, do better. And
I think that's the important thing is that like they listened, as opposed to just being like, no, fuck you, fuck off, get out of here.
I also think it might have been that thing where
like overly course correct.
Well,
sometimes that can be a weird issue too.
It was one of those things where the director or whatever was on Twitter, and then people started getting all up on them on Twitter, and then they kind of had a reaction to it because you had a bunch of people that were all just like, your history's greatest monster, like you piece of shit, and they're just like, hey, fuck off, man. So
the internet has gotten aggressive, and it was already pretty aggressive.
Yeah, tell me, man. I got my start on spill.com.
Yeah, fuck, dude. On Twitter the other day, or whatever, X, whatever.
Don't call it that.
All I did was say that a TV show I was watching had bad audio. Like the quality of it, you couldn't hear the people talking. And I got, no kidding, 45 comments.
What?
Yeah. Of people being like, yeah, they suck. That fucking sucks. It's stupid and bad. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, that has never happened to me before. I didn't like... get retweeted by anybody. You know what I mean? Like it was just me tweeting and people just like found it and attacked it. And it's just like, I don't know. It creeped me out. I was just like, all right, I'm not going to post on Twitter anymore.
I'm more than happy. My social media is called the RageSelect Discord server, patreon.com/RageSelect, and I don't care about anything else. You guys don't want to
talk about wrestling with me. It's like
more Wrestle fans.
It's just me and one dude. There's no ReSelect channel.
I can make one right now. They had a slightly longer kind of like reveal where they showed a little bit more of the game.
They showed just two characters in their chonies.
Yep, those are
just some bros hanging out in their underwear.
The main character and his best friend, and they were roommates, and neither one of them got married. The one thing about this, it's they do a lot of the normal kind of like talking about like it's an immersive simulator. We were able to do even more. Everyone's wearing trench coats for some reason.
Yeah, what the hell's going on, man?
And they're in this like church where they're projecting stuff on like the ceiling. There's one part later on though that was really funny to me where they're talking about the music in the game, and they have this choir.
And they're all in trench coats.
And they're all in black trench coats and black turtlenecks.
They all look like spies.
Right.
What the hell?
And there's like a whole orchestra full of people, but then all the singers are just like black trench coats.
They all look like they mysteriously appeared there sometime. Like, no.
Yeah. They're very... this is some kind of event for this where they're projecting the game on the side of a church, like with a huge high-power projector. And
that looks cool.
It's pretty cool looking. But yeah, people I think are really excited because, again, the people that really liked it, into it. And I think that this has we were talking about, we were talking about just making like passion project games that then take off a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that like the second one of these, if they can kind of smooth out the difficulty curve a little bit to get more people into it and then have it look better, have it come out in a year where it's not facing down against a Mario and a Zelda game, right? Could end up being one of those Baldur's Gate 3, like, oh shit, it turns out that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is like nominated for Game of the Year and sold 100 million copies, like kind of thing. But who knows? I don't know. Anyway, that was exciting.
That was exciting.
Yep.
I had a good time.
Speaking of number 2, the Fallout Season 2 has been confirmed.
Yeah. The rumor for it, I think, getting renewed was the day the first... I guess all the episodes came out at the same time, but like the day it debuted.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know that last week I looked around for it and all I could find was like rumors and then like a $25 million tax credit California was offering them because it's taking place around there.
Why don't you offer me a tax credit, California?
Yeah, Amanda, here's your tax credit. You don't have to pay $25 million worth of taxes.
Oh, thank God. I was getting nervous.
But yeah, we've confirmed that it's going to happen. Now, the bad side of this is that I have a feeling, I have an inkling, I have a twinge that...
they have creams for that.
That this is going to be like Invincible Season 2, where it's going to take 3.5 years to get Season 2 of Fallout 3 or Fallout the TV show. Yeah. Because there's a lot there, and I know that they have a lot of the props and stuff from Season 1, but there's some stuff that happens towards the end that indicates that some of that might not be useful in Season 2.
It's post-apocalyptic. Honestly, you can go anywhere and just blow it up, and it's fine.
Yeah. Just explode Southern California and then like film it there.
We've been trying for years.
But this is good. I have you gotten any further since when last we talked?
No, we are 3-4 episodes in.
Okay.
We're doing once a week, so like usually we do Thursdays when we watch an episode,
but you're here.
Somebody, forced me to come in and record, so we'll watch tomorrow probably.
Okay.
We'll watch on Friday, but yeah, I can't do binge. I can't binge.
Sure.
Like if I try to binge, I will not watch it.
No, I get that. This one I think. I really think I still think they should have released it 1 week at a time instead of dropping it all at once, because it's even got the structure where every episode kind of ends with a little bit of a cliffhanger-y, tease
and
for...
they usually, because it's on Prime?
Yeah.
And
they usually do week to week. The Boys and Invincible and that stuff, it was all week to week.
I don't understand why they decided to do it as a binge, but I would have been way more likely to have kept up with it as weekly, and the only reason I've gotten as far as I have is because we treated it like it came out weekly.
Sure.
because my brain will shut off.
Yeah.
Like the second it's like, you have like 10 episodes to watch. I'm like, forget it, I don't want to do it.
Well, the nice thing, of course, is that you remember talking about like sometimes if you have a good project that's under a large company, then it's allowed to like it might have done better numbers if they did it week to week, but it seems like Bezos and company are like, give that thing a second season, right? Like nobody is waffling. This isn't HBO Max where it's like we have the whole second season, but we threw it away, and you'll never see it for some reason.
Isn't Prime typically better about their shows anyway? Like
yes,
they're pretty good about like we'll give it another season, or like we'll let you know right away if it's not getting another season. Versus think, like a Netflix or Max, especially where they're like, you get the full season, but if you didn't watch it, it's gone.
Right?
Like, fuck you. Good luck.
I think Amazon is a little bit more willing to keep throwing money at stuff. Like I am to this day shocked that The Boys got one season, let alone more, let alone a spinoff and an animated show. And like, I'm like, I like The Boys comic, even though everybody else hates it. But like, I like The Boys comic. But even then, I was like, you're making a show out of The Boys? And then I watched it and I was like, this is your Boys show?
Yeah.
It's so fucking vulgar and violent. And then they're like, make all of The Boys. And the same with Invincible, where it's like, you guys, and hey, just to be clear, like, good on them. You're doing the fucking Lord's work by putting out violent shows for adults.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, what... I haven't watched the last 3, like, Marvel shows, so... But I'm keeping up on Invincible, and I was keeping up with The Boys.
It's very funny because Invincible and The Boys are, in comics, doing exactly what, in television, what they did in comics, where they are a response to... superhero comics,
right?
And now they're a response to superhero, and so like one can't happen without the other. You couldn't have had The Boys if you didn't get everybody so fucking tired of watching MCU movies.
Where's Moon Knight season 2? God damn it. Anyway,
yes, Moon Knight. Because that's the one Marvel thing I'd be like, all right, let's watch Moon Knight.
This goes off a little bit of last week. The Fallout show has so dramatically increased the number of people playing Fallout right now. And the thing is, there's like so many games that it's like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76. Like they're all got a boost. They said that like over the last weekend there were like 5 million concurrent players on between all of the different Fallout games.
That's nutty, isn't it?
Which is fucking crazy considering there hasn't been a new one in like since 76, which was like 2019 or something like that. Like Fallout 4 just got a next gen update this week.
Yeah.
But that is maybe easy to believe. But what I think is hilarious, what I think is absolutely hilarious, is that this has had a knock-on effect of stressing the ever-loving shit out of a website that does not see as much traffic. So what website, Amanda, that is connected to Fallout would see a huge spike to the point where they had to, like, slow things down and like rent some more server space and whatever? What site is directly connected to Fallout so specifically that it would see that kind of increase?
I don't know. Maybe I do know, but I don't.
Nexus mods.
Oh,
for fixes and additions and
that's funny. I wouldn't
content.
even. That's crazy. I would have never thought about it.
Yep.
But yeah, that makes sense because you always hear about people. Yeah, it's so funny. I watched a video of somebody going through like a brief overview of all the different games.
Yep.
And then at the very end, he was like, "These are the mods I suggest that you use if you're gonna play these games."
Yep.
And it didn't even dawn on me that like I knew about. Because like Fallout 5 has been trending on Twitter regularly because people are like, I've been playing 3 because of the show, or I've been playing New Vegas because of the show, or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of them are like, and where is Fallout 5? It all like concludes in we want the next one.
Yeah.
But it didn't dawn on me that like, yeah, a lot of them are going to be using mods and,
for fixes and updates and stuff.
Because all this stuff is
because they're all
older.
broken.
Yeah,
they're all broken.
I was gonna be nicer about it, but yeah, it's just not.
No,
up to par.
I tried playing Fallout 3 on my PC, and I realized that Fallout 3 is one of those games where the timing in the game is related to the frame rate of how fast it runs. And my computer is running games at 120 frames per second, so when I went to reload my gun, it was like it was like super fast, and I was like,
am I a god?
Is this the way it's supposed to be? And then I tried everything I could to be like, can I just, the cursor moved way too fast because it was synced up to my frame rate. And I was like, God, I'm going to have to go get mods. Does this work on the Xbox? Yes. And it's fine. Okay. I'll just play it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty fun. Speaking of mods, what do you know about Garry's mod?
Oh my God, I haven't heard Garry's mod in a very long time. That's a Team Fortress 2 thing?
It was like a Source Engine mod.
Okay.
And it was made for a lot of like comedy stuff because it was basically like you could load up a lot of like Half-Life assets. And then I think one of the first things I remember was like a mod where it was like, it was called something like All Yoda, where it was like they had one Yoda, and it was a multiplayer mod where everybody was Yoda, and all the guns were Yoda, and all the guns shot Yodas, and all the props were Yodas.
Yeah, really doing the Lord's work on that one.
Yeah. So this week, Nintendo, who has been on a bit of a tear about copyright stuff, went to Garry's mod and demanded that everything with a Nintendo thing be taken down. This resulted in
the notorious fucking spoil sport Nintendo.
Yep. Well, it's just weird because Garry's mod's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But Nintendo's been on a bit of a tear recently with taking down Yuzu. And then last week or the week before, we had a story about Discord deleting some more emulator projects, like just without notice. Just like, pfft.
Yeah.
And so I think Nintendo is kind of in a bit of a power trip right now where they're like, let's round everything up and get everything.
Yeah.
Because
I always feel like it's like they hired a new lawyer.
Oh.
And they just get real overzealous and like, actually, I just noticed that we've been allowing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That's what it always feels like to me. It's like some upstart, like we just hired them into the firm that takes care of Nintendo and now they really want to prove themselves.
It's funny because the developers for Garry's mod are like, we will comply, but like you're gonna have to give us a minute. Like apparently if you search for
this is like several years worth of
this is like 20 years worth of Garry's mod content. They said in this article on IGN, if you search for Mario on Garry's mod, you get 5,000 mods, and it's like we have to go through them to make sure that we're not just deleting some guy named Mario's mod, right? Like we have to look at them.
Very funny.
In fact, I think they said, if you want to help us by deleting your Nintendo related uploads and never uploading them again, that would help a lot. They said to like their customers.
They're like, please, guys, please.
Please?
Please.
There's a lot.
I need you guys to be real cool about this shit. Go if you made anything, go take your Mario shit down. Go take your Nintendo shit down.
It's a bummer.
Help them out. It sucks, but you know, it is what it is.
I'll tell you what though, there's an even bigger bummer when it comes to mass deletion. Sony turned off the LittleBigPlanet servers last week.
Man, LittleBigPlanet was a big deal for me when I was a young lass when that first one came out. Yep.
The PS3 servers got shut down a little while back due to apparently repeated DDoS attacks.
Oh.
And then in January of this year, there was a problem with the PS4 LittleBigPlanet servers, and they took it down and said, we're going to fix this and we're going to have them back up. And they came out with a statement this week saying, like, bad news, we're not going to put it back up.
Yeah.
So basically, if you have anything still stored on your console or in cloud storage that you made, that's fine, but you can't get access to anything that was made by users and uploaded. This brings up an interesting continuous question that we keep getting of, like, you told us that we could upload our... like, make your own content, upload it here, check out all the content that users have made, and now it's just like
gone.
Thanos snapped out of existence. And there were like people on
Twitter. They didn't think you would care this long after.
Talking about how, like, man, I made shit in LittleBigPlanet when I was like a kid, and now I'm like an adult.
Yeah.
And like that's part of it'd be like if Sony could come into your house and throw away the macaroni pictures off of your fridge. Like,
oh, Oh, that's the ornament I made my mom when I was 5 years old.
Man, my mom still has ornaments that I made when I was 5 years old.
My mom trashed everything.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't know. Probably.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That
like,
does suck.
I really hope that we're kind of getting to a critical mass point between, like, some of the servers getting turned off. Like, there's this guy kind of working on the Ubisoft side of things. I don't know if you and I talked about that. And I don't think so. This YouTuber that's kind of trying to get people to use Europe's, like, laws about how you can't just fucking take... Like, your games have to be functional, so you can't just sell me a video game and then eventually turn off the servers that make that game function and be like, you have to give me a way to keep playing this game even if your servers get disabled. And in this case, it sucks that Sony can't just be like archive it somewhere or
yeah, I think that's the thing is
like if you're not going to allow uploads, if you could just be like, I don't know how big it would be, but if you could just be like, we're going to wrap these up as like DLC packs so that you can be like, I want to download 80 gigs worth of LittleBigPlanet stuff and then just have it on my drive to sift through.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to just like, and it's gone, right? Like, just can't get it back ever.
Yeah, so. That's such a big creative effort too, because LittleBigPlanet was...
Well, it also speaks very poorly of Dreams, right? Which was their next thing where they were like, make your own game.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, right up until the point where you guys turn the servers off and we lose everything that we've ever made. The end.
Just like in real life.
Speaking of huge losses that I'm sure everybody on the internet is feeling, that new Tomb Raider 3 remaster took out a bunch of pinups of Lara Croft that were
shucks
behind her in like one level of the game. The funny part for this is, okay, so there's a couple of interesting things here. One was that the website for the remaster literally pointed this out, like pointed out that there were these like pinups. Two,
you guys still getting off on digital pussy?
The game has a thing that comes up at the beginning that's the equivalent of that, like when you try to go watch an old cartoon thing that's just like, hey, this is just a direct remaster of games that were made like in the 90s. Like, if there's anything about it, this is just an archive of a thing, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't make a lot of sense why you would take it out. It's not like they're naked pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like cheesecake.
One, she's just like lounging in her outfit.
Yeah, she's got the actual Tomb Raider. She's got the Tomb Raider outfit on.
Yeah, is the other one she's naked, but she's just like fully covered?
I think she's naked.
I can't.
But
tell
she's got like
here.
a towel over her butt, and then her arms
Maybe
are blocking the boobage.
Her feet are showing, and then they're like, "We got to get Laura off of Wiki Feet."
I don't know. I don't know that it's like. Damn, do you guys know there's like sexy pictures of Lara Croft somewhere? We gotta get those taken down because we want this wholesome icon of non-sexiness to remain a wholesome non-sexy icon for children everywhere.
And be like people being mad that Bayonetta is sexy.
Right.
Which I am. How am I supposed to play the game with one hand? That's crazy.
Actually, do you know that Bayonetta had a one-hand mode when it came out? I don't know, man. Like, this is one of those ones where I'm not on the like big old anti-censorship train, but like, this is stupid. Like, why even go to the bother of doing it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Tempest in a teacup, like.
I feel like it's a little max effort for no reason, but it also doesn't break my heart that it's not there.
I mean, I wasn't going to play these anyway. I tried playing them, and they were too hard. They were like old Tomb Raider games, and I was like, don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still just a little weird to me. I don't know why. Especially because that game came out like 2 months ago as well. So, I mean, I look at internet news every week, and I haven't seen anybody that's like up in arms, like a big community that's like, how dare you, you know. And even if you were going to do it, take down the one where she's naked and leave the one where she's got
she's just
normal outfit
clothes.
on.
Yeah, that could have easily just been her at a picnic.
You could have taken this one off and just blown this one up to take over
the
like the spot of both of them, and hardly anybody would have. Well, this is the internet. Somebody would have noticed, but
they would have noticed and been good man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, weird that they call it out specifically on their website.
I think it'd be funny to like up-res everything except for those pictures, so then
just
like,
keep them
even
blurry.
more, make them a little more pixelated, just make it like a little worse.
Just keep updating it.
Oh, sorry.
Every 6 months, up the blur by one, like until it's just
until it's nothing. It's just like a red square and a black square.
Yep. Let's see. Dragon's Dogma 2 is getting an update that makes the pawns less stupid, less chatty, and less dragons plagued. So in Dragon's Dogma 2, you have your pawn. They go out into the world, and other people can hire them into their party, and they come back and they tell you stories about what happened.
Yeah.
One of the big things was that they have this thing called Dragon's Plague, where like if your pawn gets it, they will start disobeying your orders. They'll start grabbing their head. Their eyes will turn red. Spoiler alert, in case you haven't played Dragon's Plague 2, the game is signposts this everywhere because they don't want you to get blindsided by this. If you do not dismiss them and or kill them, throw them in the water to wash off the Dragon's Plague, eventually you will go to rest at an inn. You will see a cutscene where that pawn turns into a dragon, and when you wake up, every single NPC in that town is dead.
Oh my god!
Like including quest givers, story, like the armor merchant.
They're like, please, you take care of this. Don't just leave it.
There is an item. There's one item in the game that you can get after a very complicated quest that will let you mass resurrect once. And so, like, they did give you an out if this happens. Yeah. But people get real weird about this. I think it's great. Like, and the game the pawns will not shut up about how, like, I learned from another master that there's a disease that us pawns can catch where our eyes glow red and we'll kill everybody. And you should definitely watch out for it. But they're toning all that down a little bit, which is good. I wish they would focus more on making the game run better, but that's just me.
Yeah.
So, let's see. This is a very strange story, Amanda.
Yes.
So there's a game called Stellar Blade, and this is not about how sexy the main character is. She's
pretty sexy.
There's been a whole thing online of people just like
they took all her pinups down though.
She's too sexy. She's not. All games are ugly women. It's a stupid culture war shit. I don't like to. I don't fucking care.
Okay.
However, this one is interesting. So, it takes place on a ruined Earth. There's a character in the game. Well, I'm going to block this because I want you to get your direct reaction.
All right, my eyes are closed.
Okay, so there's a character in the game named Roxanne, who is like a vendor.
Okay, and
she will there'll be places in the game where there's a little R and then like a little arrow, and that points to where Roxanne's store is.
Okay.
It's also this post-apocalyptic world, and there's graffiti everywhere. Lots of different graffiti words all over the place. Now, I do not think, for the life of me, I don't think there's any way this could be intentional, but this was apparently in the game. And this is...
I caught him for a second.
This is a big piece of graffiti that says the word hard right next to the word, not right next to the R. Yeah. So it says hard R.
You don't hard R.
Ooh. And people are like,
yeah.
So
doesn't look great. Just remove that hard.
Yes. So that's what they did.
Just add an S and then it's Shardar.
Shardar. They already are doing a day one update where they replace that particular piece of graffiti with something that says crime.
Well, now it says crimer.
Like Slimer, but with crimes. This was developed by a Korean dude, I think. That
might have been something that was lost in cultural translation, or
even if this was developed by an American, I can see slapping that on the side and then be like, "Where should we put the store? Oh, put it right there."
Yeah,
and nobody just considered it because they've been working on the game. But I think it's
one of my favorite things right now is people post videos at old Hard Rock cafes, and the neon sign will be out and it'll literally be, I don't want to go to Hard R Cafe.
Good Lord. Let's see. Apparently the other thing about Stellar Blade though is that it's going to be uncensored in all countries, and what this means is that
nudity?
I don't think okay, listen, the main character is wearing skin tight jumpsuits all over the place, and there's some jiggling going on, and there's some sexy outfits that are going on, and I think the idea here is that some countries will even have it doesn't have to be nudity, it can just be
modest,
scantily clad boobage, and the country will be like, you got to cover that shit up, we don't want this here. And I think that because this has kind of become a weird culture war talking point thing, that the developers just it's also, if you were a developer, how great would it be to just be I'm not going to censor my game for nobody because I don't want to do the fucking extra work of taking out all the like, is this too sexy? Is this sexy enough? What if I put like a piece of cloth over the boob window? Is it less? Is it available? So
did the idea of boob worse than just boob itself?
And the words of the Lady Boss video, how much boob is too much boob? But that's
the limit does not exist.
Only for me. So yeah. Speaking of boobage, this is a weird.
I'm liking where this.
I gotta tell you, Amanda. I've been trying these days to pick news stories that are interesting for the people that I record with.
What does Amanda want to talk about? Titties.
So this is a very weird story, and it's only tangentially related to video games. There's a company called Salad that is a cloud computing / AI company, like that will allow you to generate AI art. Quotey fingers, if you like, whatever. This is very resource intensive. Salad has come up with the idea of allowing individuals to basically rent out their gaming hardware to let this app run in the background to basically use their compute to do AI image generation. Now, the weird thing here is that this is one of them, they're unlicensed places. So basically, it's kind of strange. They said everything is marked basically, everybody that signs up for an account is put into the non-explicit bucket by default. Where you, but you can opt into the explicit bucket, right? Explicit category. If you're in the explicit category, every single image that is generated on your system, you don't get to look at them or anything, right? It's just like running in the background, is marked as explicit because it could be explicit, it could not be explicit, but the last thing you want is for something that is to not be marked that way. So why would anyone do this? The answer is that you get weird virtual credits for Salad's website that you can use to purchase like Fortnite skins or like Roblox money or like different items in games. So basically, if you let people generate AI pornography on your computer, you can get some free Fortnite skins out of it if you want.
This sounds like it's a great way to trick children into letting you like infiltrate their computers.
You would think, well, maybe. I actually just think it's about compute power because all this stuff, like the crypto and AI stuff, it's all just like really, really electricity and like processor intensive. Like there was a thing on the PS3 that was called like folding at PlayStation, where you could basically like let the PS3 go into this weird screensaver, and what it was doing was it was like hooking up to a mainframe that was doing calculations on like medical testing that were like mapping genomes, like stuff that took a huge amount of computer power, and it would just let your PlayStation like lend its compute support to this activity while you weren't using it.
Interesting.
So it's not like it has never been done before. It's just kind of weird that then there's like a for this, it's like it's explicitly, you're doing that for the good of mankind. Here you're letting people like generate
pornography,
like 6-boobed, 4-armed porn ladies, and you're just like, well, I want to get something out of this if that's what I'm using my computer for. So
that's fair.
How about some Fortnite skins? It is kind of genius though, in that like giving you $5 worth of Fortnite stuff to let your computer do $200 worth of AI work for them. I don't know. Speaking of Fortnite is now going to allow you to mute certain emotes, and these are considered quote unquote, I forget what they call them, controversial, confrontational emotes.
What does that even mean?
Okay, so like there's an emote called take the L, and when you do that, the character puts the L sign on their forehead and they kind of dance with their legs back and forth. And the idea is that like when you get shot in Fortnite, you don't die immediately. First you go down, and then you have to be fully killed in order to die, or you can be resurrected.
Revived.
But this has made it so, if you're away from your team, you're the last person. If it's a safe place, somebody might come over and fucking do the L dance right on top of you in your face. Or like apparently it's like,
you kids, you're so lucky that it's just emotes. Back in my day, when things like that would happen, your ass would get teabagged by some douchebag in Call of Duty because that's the only thing they knew how to do.
Or the voice comms turn on and somebody starts on there incredibly
belittling you as you're slowly dying in a corner. Trying to get your team over.
But now apparently there's this new feature that you can. That's like it's just a checkbox that says "See confrontational emotes," and if you turn it off, like the other person can still do it and they still see it, but you don't see it.
Yeah,
you just see their character walk up and stand still in front of you, which kind of defeats the purpose because that would then let you know that they're doing it, but you're just not seeing it. And I don't know. Like, if you had a bleep filter, would that make any difference when somebody goes off talking about how they're going to fuck your mom if the word fuck is bleeped? Like,
maybe it just makes you feel a certain way to see that sort of thing. Or like kids, because young kids play it, that it's a little too bullying.
Too aggressive.
Yeah. Well,
it's too aggressive when I got shot with a machine gun that the guy that came over and put this L sign on it for it.
But, like, yeah, that's true. Well, I think more from like a parental viewpoint, the like kids copy things that they see.
Sure.
And so like if you turn off the confrontational thing, you don't have to worry about your kid straight bullying people in school and doing stuff like that.
Yep.
Where it would like an L in a video game might not seem that bad, but like when your kid's being mean to a kid that like lost the fucking flag football game and starts doing that, that can be an issue.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I
from
get
like
it.
a boring adult point of view. But
Yeah. It makes a lot more sense when you put it in the context of children, where you're like, I mean, it doesn't fucking bother me.
Yeah.
So why should it even be a thing? And it's like, well, because there are people that are not you that do get bothered by it. So whatevs.
Yeah, I honestly think it was put in less for like, does this hurt your feelings? And more from like a parental.
Yeah.
Does this hurt your child's feelings? Is your kid a douchebag? Do you want to prevent him from learning new douchebag tricks?
Right. Let's see. Let's go pretty well. We've got about 5 minutes left. Let's roll through pretty quick.
We'll blast through them.
Overwatch 2 is having another problem. I know everybody's shocked.
Christ.
Everybody's shocked.
It would be more newsworthy if they didn't have a problem.
That's the news story for this week. Overwatch 2, no problem.
Doing good.
The current problem is that so Overwatch 2 has bans that will happen if you drop up out of a match. This is already somewhat controversial because if you just get like an internet interruption and then the server is like, oh, you just dropped a match, like we're gonna give you a 15-minute ban or something like that. Apparently it's currently happening even if you don't do anything.
Really?
Like, people are just getting bans for like no reason.
Boy.
To the point where they put on their forums like, quit reporting the bans. We're working on this. It should be fixed momentarily, et cetera, et cetera. People think that what's happened is that they're going into a queue, and then that queue is falling apart like it does.
Yeah.
And that they're being seen as like,
dropping
you
out.
Exited.
Wow.
So
that sucks. And if it bans you for like 15 minutes, if that happened to me, I'd be like, I'm not playing Overwatch today. And then I'll just move on.
Yep.
Try again in like a couple hours or something.
Yep. And it really sucks because they just started their 10th season last week. So new hero and new
a lot of people
stuff
going on to play their
Mirror Watch. They've
bullshit.
got a new mode called Mirror Watch. I don't even know what it is. Anyway, let's see. Point Paradox Interactive, City Skylines 2 developers are just like fucking fucked 6 ways from Tuesday.
Why?
This game came out broken. It runs like garbage. The same tools that are in Cities Skylines 1 aren't there. They also sold like a deluxe package, and they were supposed to put in like post-launch stuff, but they've been so busy trying to fix it that they haven't done it.
Yikes.
I'll tell you what, we won't talk about this too much because we don't have the time, but it's so dire that they're literally bringing in like representatives of the players to discuss with them their plans for moving forward.
Wow.
Because they've tried like, well, we need to fix it. And if we try to fix it, but they try to fix it, the people who like ordered content are like, it says here that this is supposed to be on my game in April. Where the fuck are my rewards that I paid $30 for?
Yeah.
And so then they put those out while the game was still broken, and the people that bought the regular game were like, why the fuck are you putting out like beach houses when the game doesn't fucking work?
Ooh, that's rough.
So they're in a bit of a pickle. They even said like they can't refund So people that bought the collector's edition, they made the houses free for everyone. So the people that bought the collector's edition are mad because they were supposed to get these houses for free, but now everybody's getting them for free. They can't refund the difference.
Yeah.
They can only refund the entire thing, so they're basically giving them like a bunch of credits for the game, but then like so anyway, it's a big thing.
Clusterfuck. Yeah, that sounds awful.
And I don't even know how they get out of it, but they're gonna try.
Good luck.
Speaking of weird loopholes, Steam just changed its refund policy in a way that's kind of interesting. I didn't know this was a thing.
In a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, I think in a good way. It's basically letting people stop getting away with something. A lot of games.
Had you been getting away with it, Jeff?
Absolutely not. Games, you can refund a game on Steam if it's less than, I think, like 20 days old, and if you played less than 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
This apparently didn't count if a game had an early access period, like if you bought the game and then you got to play it 2 days early, like that whole shtick, that time didn't count towards your 2 hours because technically the game hadn't released yet, so the counter hadn't started. So you could buy the deluxe edition, play it like for 2 days early, and refund it, buy the regular edition, or just not right, just beat it in the first 2 days.
Yeah, but
not anymore because Steam fixed it.
Yeah, so as soon as you're able to play it, whether it's early launch or not, the timer starts. Yeah, that's reasonable.
That's legit.
That's fair.
Steam has an incredibly good refund. Like, Steam lets you refund if you're just like, I didn't like that game, give me my money back.
Yeah.
And they're like, sure, man, you played less than 2 hours, take your money back. You obviously didn't beat this game. So. Yeah. Speaking of Steam, Path of Exile had a problem last week where they had a phishing scam. Their Steam page got updated and it said like sign up for the beta for Path of Exile 2 here, and it was like pathofxie.com. This happened because I was fascinated by this. Somebody did research online, did like social research on the developers and managed to get enough information to then answer the challenge questions to change the email address of the dev account to their email address, and then put up a very well put together phishing scam post that looked like an invitation to the beta. And so if you did that, go change your shit.
Fucked over. God, that's crazy.
Yep.
Don't be a fucking dick.
Yep.
God.
Let's see. Let's finish up with a couple quick ones. Our favorite game, El Paso Elsewhere.
Yes.
It's getting a movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That is not what I thought was going to...
Yep. It's getting turned into a movie.
A live action movie?
Yep. Live action movie with Lakeith Stanfield from Sorry to Bother You.
I love him.
Yeah, he was in Knives Out.
Yeah, he was also in like Death Note.
Yep. He is going to be, he's going to play the titular main character.
Nice.
And
I'm in.
Yeah, the D. Bonaventure films, and like they've got a director attached.
Yeah.
Interesting. Other interesting thing that I didn't know is the maker of El Paso Elsewhere was Xavier Nelson, XLAVIER Nelson Jr. It's so here are two things I didn't realize about this guy. One, he made I knew he made this game called Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator, which I was like, boo. But he made this game called An Airport for Aliens Currently Run by Dogs that Michael and I played.
Yeah.
That was amazingly fun.
I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah.
That's
Two, this is the guy like last year who put out that tweet about how like people should look on Baldur's Gate 3 as an anomaly and not like the standard.
Oh, yeah.
This is the guy that wrote all of that.
That's funny.
And here's a third bonus one for you.
Nice.
He's the vocalist for all the music on El Paso Elsewhere. So he's the guy that rapped the song.
That's amazing.
You got to get those numbers up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
If that song's not in the movie, then what's the point? Why even?
Whole soundtrack better be in the movie. All right, we're already over time.
Yeah.
We'll come back to the next story when we come back. Because all we got left is trailers.
Nice.
We do have a lot of trailers, though. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to finish this bitch up. I don't know why I said it like that. I don't know why I said it like that.
Just bitch up, Jeff.
I got to get those numbers up, okay? And we're back.
Yay. Yay!
And it's the final stretch.
The home, make it. I can see the end.
Home stretch. You can see the end of the tabs, and there's no more tabs. So we did skip. We have one quick story to do before we jump into it.
Okay.
This is a very weird thing. Sony is trying to make an acquisition. They've tried to make it before, but they didn't have the capital. They are now teaming up with this investment firm called Apollo Global Management.
Okay.
And they're trying to buy Paramount, which makes a certain amount of sense because Sony has movies. Yeah, they have kind of movie stuff. And they also don't have any streaming services, right? They're not making any money off of a streaming service right now. And Paramount, like, they seem, I mean, like, I actually like a lot of stuff that's on Paramount, but they also seem like they're kind of the weirdo of the bunch. So
yeah, a little bit.
But the interesting result of this would be if Sony bought Paramount and Paramount keeps making Halo, it means that Sony is now publishing a Halo television show that's licensed from Microsoft.
Yeah,
so,
that is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a weird thing. I mean, you know, this is all fucking business, and like, you know, the companies don't care about the console wars. They care about money, as we explained many times over the last forever.
It's been a blast thinking about.
Yep.
Capitalism, the podcast.
Yep. Well, here, I tell you what. What about Video Game Trailers, the podcast?
Let's in. Depending on the trailers.
Let's start with Final Fantasy 14.
Never mind, I'm out again.
This is a very weird trailer. This is on the PlayStation thing. This is just, it's called the Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail Benchmark trailer. So Final Fantasy 14 is releasing this big expansion in June or July. One of those June months. Don't... Forget you heard that. You know what I meant. You know what the joke was. It's one of those things where their MMO is getting a big glow up. They're doing a big graphical overhaul.
Yeah.
And so this is just kind of showing like a bunch of scenes in their engine with the kind of the new character models and the new environment textures. It's all right. Like, the thing is, it's an MMO, right? Yeah. So it's a lot more exciting when you get to this battle montage, and they've got like a bunch of like particle effects and spells going off, than it is zooming up on an MMO character's face really close, and you're like, at first I was like, oh, when does it go to what the new graphics are going to look like?
Oh, rough.
But you know, when it's moving and it's in action and stuff, it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
not that I ever want to play this game. Because it's like 200 hours long, and then they're putting out an expansion or something like that. So I do like
who the hell has that kind of time?
Young people?
Well, I'm past that, so.
I like the snake with the big mouth, though.
Yeah, that's a nice little monster design. He does have like snake chin whiskers, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
It's good look.
Anyway, yeah, it looks pretty good. Still not going to get me to play it, but it still looks pretty good. I'm glad. Final Fantasy 14 has been like, I mean, just an unmitigated success story for Square Enix. Like, when everything else is doing okay numbers, like this shit's doing incredible numbers. Like Final Fantasy 14 competes with like a WoW for like player count and stuff. So
that's nutty to me, but I love and respect it.
You know, the craziest part about Final Fantasy 14 was they launched it and it was bad. And after like 3 months, they took the entire game offline and spent 2 years redoing everything and then relaunched it. And everybody was like, this is very much better than what you did. It was like one of the few times I've seen
delightful success story.
Yeah, a company do like the right thing for the right reasons. So... let's see. From there, we got the official Loki trailer for Marvel Rivals. Amanda, I don't know if you're familiar with Marvel Rivals. This is Overwatch, but Marvel.
Yeah.
I think this looks like
Overwatch, but Marvel.
It looks so like Overwatch that I'm not interested in.
Yeah, doesn't it kind of pull you out? Like, the idea should sell me on it, but I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know. Like, my there's a time when you find something new and exciting where it's like, oh, it's exciting whenever anything even tangentially related to it is coming out or getting made. And then there comes a time where you're just kind of sick of all that shit.
You're a little burnt out.
And you're like, I'm going to take the best 4 of you and not like all the rest. So,
yeah.
Let's see. From there, We got the game Lords of the Fallen is getting a new update. This is really strange. So Lords of the Fallen was a kind of a Dark Souls-ish type game. There was one a long time ago that was like just kind of a Dark Souls ripoff. And then there was, I think, a second one that was a little better. And then they just like rebooted it and started it over. Kind of an interesting concept where there's like the regular world and like a ghost world, and you can, when you die, like you go to the ghost world, or you can like hold up a lantern and it changes the world to the ghost world.
Oh, that's
so you
cool.
can find different stuff.
Yeah.
It ran really badly when it first came out on everything. But they've done a lot of work. This is them saying, like, you know, it came out like October, I think, of last year, somewhere around there. They've done a lot of work. They've stabilized a lot of the frame rate. It's one of the first games using Unreal Engine 5 for everything. So it's like, you know, kind of experimental.
Yeah.
But the big thing here is that they've got this new update where if you play the game and then you beat the game and then you go to do either restart the game or do New Game Plus, whichever one you want, they're giving you like this series of modifiers that you can turn on. And what's really interesting about this is most of this stuff is Dark Souls mods, but like canonical in the game. And what this is like, so the first one is, okay, let's start easy.
Yeah.
Iron Man mode. So Iron Man mode makes it so that if you die once, you're dead. Like you have to start the whole game over.
Yeah.
In this game, you still get to, if you die, you go into ghost mode, so you get one chance to kind of come back out. But then once that's done, you're dead. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But then, like, one of the big things that they're doing here is they have a randomizer, which is something that a lot of Dark Souls games have had over the years.
Randomizer for what? Like, what's it randomizing?
Well, there's two. There's one for enemies. There's one for treasure. So, like now, it's just completely randomizes where all of the enemies in the game are. So, where there used to be like a regular guy here, there's like a boss there now.
Yeah.
Or like a really high level guy from later in the game there. For the treasure, it's like your first box may have like an end game weapon, or it might have trash in it. These are really popular Elden Ring and Dark Souls mods.
Yeah, of course they are, because they possibly make the game wildly harder.
Right.
And you freaks like that sort of thing.
I don't do that. I don't do that randomizer bullshit. Oh, it's all Melanias. Every enemy's a Melania. Oh, no, thank you.
Oops, all Melania.
But then they also have stuff like they'll automatically level up equipment to your level whenever you open a box. There's like a bunch of different stuff.
I mean, that one's kind of cool.
Mostly it's just also you can kind of change those difficulty modifiers at any time.
Yeah.
I think you have to start over though. But yeah, it's interesting to see a game basically taking like a very popular class of mod and then like, you know, one of the things they say is
incorporating it into their actual base game.
One of the things I thought was kind of an interesting thing is they were like, you know, if you turn on the random enemies, random bosses, and Iron Man mode, you basically made yourself a roguelike game because it's going to be randomized every time you start, and if you die, you got to start the whole game over. So, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
The headline that I had for the story of this was like, Lords of the Fallen decides, fuck it, you just do whatever you want to. We've opened the keys to the game. And I'm like, then I went to go play the game or watch this video, and they were like, well, you have to beat the game first. And I was like, I don't know about all that.
Although that does kind of make sense. Like, you beat the game, you want to keep playing, but you really don't want to replay the game.
Right.
Doing the like Iron Man, like making it a roguelike kind of makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. So
yeah.
Interesting. It'd be interesting to see if this trickles down into other places. So
yeah.
Let's see. From there, we got the launch trailer for Sandland, which I haven't recorded yet, but I will be very soon.
Nice.
So this is the Akira Toriyama game.
Yeah.
It's about like demons driving tanks in the desert.
Yes. It's on Hulu.
Oh, okay. Oh, the actual show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The show came out this season, right?
Yeah, I almost watched it. It's on my list. I might actually watch it just because I like the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
I think it's wildly funny to watch this and not Dragon Ball.
Right.
Like
everything but Dragon Ball.
I'll watch anything but the most popular thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What appeals to me is I like Toriyama was apparently, Michael's told me a million times, he's like super big into vehicles. Like he was really he drew really detailed like trucks and tanks and motorcycles and stuff. So I like the idea that like that's like your primary like battle component.
Yeah.
Also, I like the idea that it's like a third-person action game and not a RPG where you have to input turns, or an arena battler where you're just one-on-one
just like
fighting.
Punching dudes. We've talked about, I think we've one of the other times I was on a podcast was like a trailer or a teaser for it, and it looked good. It looked fun.
I like it. I don't know. I watched the IGN review and it kind of gave it like a weirdly low score, but I get the feeling that the person that reviewed it was a big fan of like the manga or something. And I'm like,
and he's like, it's not true to what I wanted.
Well, I don't know and shit about that. So, let's see. Fortnite has a brand new pop star.
Huzzah.
It's Billie Eilish. Is the new like
she hasn't been in Fortnite. I feel like she makes much sense in Fortnite.
Well, they just kind of they had the pop star concerts, and I don't think that she was more indie when that was like going on, but they just recently put out the big like the rock band mode. So like last season it was Lady Gaga, and so she was in the game, and then she had a bunch of songs in the mode, and now like the article that I read about this pointed out that like she has a new album coming out, Billie Eilish, very soon. So that makes a certain amount of sense.
If it's not her weird spooky shit, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of her songs just kind of like, even though the topic's not spooky, like the music video and the general sound of it is a little spooky, and I kind of like that.
Is that what all this is in the trailer? Is this like references to her music videos? Because I don't know them well enough. Okay. Because I was like, I don't know what any of this
all
is.
Like her previous album like look and stuff. She doesn't really look like that much anymore. But like, yeah, that's all. I'm not like a diehard Billie Eilish fan, but yeah, I've seen her music videos and they're all kind of like this. This all is very This is like black inky flames behind her and her being like possessed sort of thing. Okay.
I do think I do like the fact that it's like Fortnite has run out of nostalgia game characters
and like, music,
movie characters, and TV show characters, and now it's like let's get started on pop music. Actually, they've been started on pop music since.
That's like a natural progression if you think about it.
Yeah. Was it Ariana Grande? There was like one of her concerts that they had on there where there was a gigantic Ariana Grande, but then also there was
horrifying.
An Ariana Grande skin, and I'm like, I'm so mad that I didn't get it, because the idea of shooting people in multiplayer and doing the L sign at them as Ariana Grande.
That's amazing.
But that was the only thing to get an update, because also Lego Fortnite is getting animals, farm animals. So Lego Fortnite is basically Minecraft.
Okay.
But it's Legos instead of Minecraft.
Why is it called Fortnite?
Because it's in Fortnite. You go into Fortnite and you launch into this. It's a mode in Fortnite. Yeah. Like it uses the same skins that the Fortnite does, but they're converted into Lego guys.
Yeah.
And then you can get on a server with your friends, and now they've got these little Lego farm animals.
Yeah, the animals are freaking cute.
The only thing that's weird about them is that they're all made of Legos, and they're all just like have blank Lego pegs as eyes.
Yeah.
Like the characters have eyes.
Yeah, which is weird because Lego has stickers, and they would have sticker eyes.
They have like a little like two thing with two googly eyes on it or something. Yeah.
Nope. I mean, they're cute though. I like it.
Yeah. It's amazing how
so cute.
It was like 6 months ago when Fortnite put this out, where it was like, you can now play Fortnite. You can now play Rock Band in Fortnite. You can now, there's like a racing game inside of Fortnite that's apparently good. And you can play Minecraft inside of Fortnite. So you can now do all of these things inside of this one piece of software.
Are we in Fortnite now?
If we are, I expect a check. Or at least, I don't know, like, you know what?
Is that why you look like Ariana Grande right now?
Actually, I don't need a check. Tim Sweet, if you want to put Jeff in Rage from RageSelect in Fortnite, that's fine. I'll probably get people to come to my channel. Wait, I don't want people on my channel. Don't put me in Fortnite.
Don't tell the people listening to the podcast that you don't want them on the channel.
They're already here. I don't want the new people.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Speaking of Minecraft put out their new mob. This was a little earlier than expected.
Yeah.
They have a thing every year where were you on last time when we showed like they had like the revolutionary signs when So
no, I don't think I was. So I don't know what the hell you're talking.
So every year, Minecraft puts a new mob into Minecraft, and they usually have a vote with 2 different mobs. And the Fortnite community is incensed about this because they want both.
Yeah,
they're like, stop asking us; just give us both.
You developed both.
So they created this whole campaign of like boycott the vote, and they put a bunch of like, they repurposed a bunch of like union posters about
I do remember
cancel
that.
management.
I was a part of like the episode in which this was talked about, or if you and I talked about it.
Yeah,
but I do remember it happening.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love you, little freaks.
It's an armadillo. The little Minecraft armadillo.
Hell yeah, I am into the armadillos.
And they drop these little like armadillo shells that you can now.
Oh,
make.
That wasn't a poop?
No.
Because it looked like a poop.
It's a crafting material they use to make the wolf armor, which is why you have like the 15 different wolves, because they have different colored armor that you can now make for your wolves that give them more hit points.
I thought the wolves were Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Because they got
they really do.
They look like Power Rangers. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah. But kind of amazing. That,
that's fun. I like.
They're still doing their thing.
I do like armadillos.
Apparently, you don't even have to kill the armadillos to get their stuff. You can just kind of like rub up against them, and then they'll drop.
You just harass them, and they go, "Here, leave me alone."
Yeah.
And really, that's all I ever want.
Harass an armadillo.
Yeah, just
.com .edu. Speaking of farming games, we got our first full-on trailer for Tales of the Shire. This is the Stardew Valley cozy game where you play as a hobbit in the Shire.
I've had people send this to me and are like, this is clearly up your alley. And I can't express how not up my alley this is.
Have they never been to your alley before?
Yeah, apparently not.
I've been there. There's no cute cottages or like, they think you're cottagecore?
They think
you wear so much black. Like,
they think I'm cottagecore. A lot of people think I'm very, like they mistake what cozy game is to me. And then also, I'm not a Lord of the Rings girl.
Yeah.
So this is like also, not only am I not Lord of the Rings, I'm wildly anti-Hobbit. So like, not for me.
I gotta tell you, I watched this trailer and I was like, this is exactly the sort of game that bores me to fucking tears, because it's like, decorate your hobbit hole and grow crops and then make a dinner for your friends. And I'm like, can I get the ring and become a weird?
Yeah, like
can I club my best friend to death?
Center this around like the cool fantasy story, and instead we just stay home. What if you don't go on an adventure? Like what?
Like, yeah, I also
like, I get it, but also like, what?
If I remember my book, like, hobbits are also like very xenophobic, and like some of them are real nasty, like the Sackville Bagginses.
If you did the same thing, but it was the dwarves. Maybe
they've already done that. They made a Minecraft with the dwarves.
That's
basically.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. This doesn't do anything.
I'm not a big
nothing
Hobbit
for me.
Person.
Also, I'm like you. I'm cozy stuff. It's got to have a really good hook. I'm very particular about which cozy stuff I want to look at.
Yeah, honestly, the like stay at home and do like and farm or whatever. Like if it's not Animal Crossing, you're probably not going to sell it to me.
Animal Crossing was that, but weird.
Yeah,
like Stardew Valley was that, but also weird.
Yeah,
like I need it to be weird, and this isn't weird enough. Just big-feeted hobbits is not like, that's not enough.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a specific audience for this, but boy, am I not it.
People who fly to New Zealand to look at the hobbit holes in the side of the cliff.
I mean, they're like Disney adults, but like
Lord of the Rings adults.
They read books.
I never got as into Lord of the Rings as I never got the mania that everybody else got. I was like, it's fine. Like I think it's great, but
I think it's fine. I've never like absolutely hated any of the movies or anything. I never read the books, but like I'm also like really weird about the fantasies that I
read the books, but way before the movies, because I was a nerd, and like it's
like a standard, right? But like
But I read them once. I've never gone back. I've never read the Silmarillion. I don't care. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a whole segment full of tepid water. Let's get to something else. If you want a crafting game that does have a lot of violence in it,
hell yeah, I do.
We got the trailer for V Rising: Ruins of Mortium, which I think is like going to be the final area for V Rising, where you're going to have to go kill Dracula, because like you start as a baby vampire and you build up power and you build your castle and you build all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
And then this looks like a very late game area.
We have to murder God.
And then this the trailer ends with like the main character kind of walking into this throne room, and there's like a Dracula on the other side, and he stands up and pulls out a sword. He's got the big
blood
bat wing.
Oh man, that looks cool actually.
Bat wing throne, like it's pretty cool. He's got like all these Sauron masks on it and shit.
Yeah.
Like this is gothic. This is like dictionary definition gothic. I love this game, and I can't wait when it goes into 1.0. We're going to do some more videos on it, because I think I did it as part of like Vamp Week on RageSelect.
Yeah.
But we never...
We had a Vamp Week?
Yeah.
That's funny.
We did this. There was like that Love Bites vampire
that's right, yeah.
romance thing. Something... Oh, I think that might have been the week that you and I did Romancylvania.
Yes. That's what I thought the Love Bites thing was.
No. That was... It was like a visual novel where you find a house that has like 3 vampires, like a lady and a dude and a non-binary vampire, or like a trans vampire or something. I did that one with Tessa. Okay. It was like we went and then you got to kind of choose which one you want to like romance.
Shaboink.
Yeah. Anyway, yep.
Vampires can't have sex. Sorry.
Depends on the vampire.
Well.
How to kill a vampire. However the fuck you want. Speaking of romance, we also got the launch trailer for Sucker for Love.
We have
Date to Die For.
Waiting for this.
Yep. I thought this was going to come out like a month ago.
Yeah.
I love the premise of this. For anybody who doesn't know, I already know it. It's like there's a new god mommy, basically. This one's a goat lady called Roxanne.
Oh, that's I love it.
But it's spelled RHOK_ZAN.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And the thing is that you have, I believe the hook is that Roxanne has this cult in the world that is like trying to bang her, and she doesn't want to bang any of them.
Yeah.
And your character
she just wants to bang me?
Well, your character is Ace and doesn't want to bang the god.
That's amazing.
And so the god is like, you are my best friend and savior.
Yeah.
Help me get these motherfuckers off my back.
That's amazing.
And it's all very kind of 90s. And Sucker for Love was great. I can't wait to play this. We're going to play it next week. It looks great.
Be fun.
Looks fucking great. Looks fucking great. Great.
We do have a good time fucking gods.
That's true.
Or not fucking gods.
We never got to the third one.
I don't even remember who the third one was.
There was the Cthulhu lady.
Yeah.
And then there was the king in yellow.
Yeah.
And then there was one that was like a void with like eyeballs in it that was like teal.
Okay.
I saw it in the trailer. We never actually got that far in the game. So let's see. We got another trailer for Crow Country. I'm going to keep talking about this because I think it looks great. It's coming out to the Xbox X/S very soon. I think like next week or something.
Nice.
Throwback to a PS1 style horror game. Kind of chunky polygons for graphics, but then also it's like an action game.
Yeah.
And also it's weird and dark and shit.
Yeah, like fun, weird, goopy monster designs.
Yeah. Like this is kind of survival. This is kind of like horror game that I liked back in the day.
Yeah. Got a little flavor to it.
Yeah. It's unique. May 9th.
May 9th.
Oh, God. You're going to get massacred. So much stuff is coming out on May 9th.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Transitioning a little bit, we got a trailer for Gory Cuddly Carnage, Gori. This is an action game that is coming out soon.
Are you a cat in this game?
You are a cat. You ride around on a floating sword, and your goal, a sword hoverboard.
I'm sorry, you're a cat in a hoodie.
Yeah, you're a little cat person, and you're trying to kill unicorns, and you kill them in like incredibly gory ways.
This is like if Doom was made by Lisa Frank.
Sort of, yes, sort of. Yeah, it looks really interesting, and that the unicorns are horrifying.
Yeah,
and they just buckets of blood.
A lot of
blood. And also, you get to do like 6 skateboarding grinds. Yeah. You do grind thingy on a rail. I'd never heard of this before.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
feel
what?
Like, see, when people send me the fucking Hobbit game and are like, this is up your alley, and then there's a trailer for something like this, and they didn't think to send this to me, I get insulted personally.
Yep. Do you not know me at all?
Yeah. Who do you think I am?
August 29th is when that's coming out.
Nice.
So
that is dangerously close to my birthday.
There you go. Happy birthday. Have a game where cats murder unicorns.
Yeah, hell yeah. I hate unicorns and I love cats. This really works out for me.
There you go.
I don't hate unicorns. Don't put that out there.
Shifting gears to the cuter side of things, we got Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble trailer.
Banana Rumble sounds like a great combination of words.
This is the smartest thing I think they've ever done.
Yeah.
This is Fall Guys, but Super Monkey Ball.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So you got like 16 players, and then you're in your monkey ball, and you're like going through the thing. You're trying not to get off the side.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different.
Oh man, that looks like I'd be wildly frustrated very quickly.
It's a lot faster than Monkey Ball or than Fall Guys.
Yeah, because the Fall Guys, you're like these waddling losers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you've got like momentum, and like you fall off the edge and shit.
Oh god.
They've got some different game modes. They thought there's like a kind of a versus mode and like a collect a banana mode and stuff.
Like smashing robots and race and you want to be top banana.
The weird thing is Sega's putting this out, and I know for a fact that they're also doing like a Sonic Fall Guys game. So I don't know. All I know is that it looks like a good idea for Monkey Ball. I'm not a Monkey Ball guy.
Yeah, but it makes sense. Decent party games are like fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't really, as long as you're making like a good one and they're not just like adding a skin to something that already exists in like a cheap way, I think they usually do pretty good. Because people are always looking for dumb shit to play with your friends.
Yeah.
Or to play also online, or like Twitch streamers.
But with Sega, that's the sort of thing that you can put out free to play, and then buy a Sonic the Hedgehog outfit, buy a Golden Axe outfit, buy a Shinobi outfit. If you like pre-ordered it, you get a banana outfit for your stupid monkey. Yep. So then you're a monkey dressed as a banana trying to get a banana. Poor Starship Troopers Extermination. It put out, they're doing a new update. Okay, this game came out late last year, and it's a first-person shooter game where you play as Starship Troopers and you're killing the bugs on Clendathu. And Michael and I played it, but our recording got all jacked up and it locked up, so we never put it out. We started out ragging on it, and then by the end of the game, we were having fun.
Yeah.
When it got like really frenetic and there were a lot of bugs, and we're like, medic and stuff. This poor fucking game just was trying as hard as it could, and then Helldivers 2 came along and ate its lunch. What they're showing here, though, is that they didn't used to have these classes. So now they're putting in like 6 different classes. Nice. There's like a medic and an engineer and like a demo man and like a ranger, and they all have kind of different perks. I mean, you're seeing this trailer, Amanda. It doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't look bad at all.
It's got good graphics. Like, it looks a lot like Starship Troopers. In this trailer, they're doing the whole
would you
font
like to know more?
Yeah. The bugs are all just like, it's licensed. They're directly out of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn, guys.
Yeah, that's rough. Bad timing on your part.
Yeah. Nobody cares. Everybody's busy trying to push back the robots right now.
Yeah.
So, yep. Let's see. From there, we got the launch trailer for Lunar Lander Beyond. I still can't believe that this is a thing. It's got all this high production, like, anime stuff. And then, do you know what Lunar Lander is? Like this old Atari game where you're trying to land and you're using like fuel and like you don't want to come down too hard.
I like faintly remember that.
They made another one, but it's like it's got all this story and animated cutscenes and like different like ships and stuff.
I'm always amazed at what gets a lot of effort but isn't like the game. Like the effort is more in the everything else around it.
Right. It's like, yes, we've prettied up Lunar Lander.
Because we've seen that before where it's like, dang, we got like animated cutscenes. Anyway, the rest of it's Tetris.
Right.
And it's like, why? Why?
The thing is, I think Atari right now is on they're on a spree of just licensing whatever they got.
Yeah.
Because last week we had it's like this side-scrolling action game where you play as like an anime lady, and it was for Yar's Revenge. It was like a Yar's Revenge game.
Okay.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. Anyway, Little Winter Beyond is out now. I don't know. I think I got it on the schedule somewhere to play, but very weird.
Very weird.
Rocket League has got a bunch of X-Men cars.
Nice. That doesn't make sense. Half of those people can fly. Why would they have a car?
It's just skins. It's just skins to make the cars look kind of vaguely X-Men themed. They've got all the X-Men from the 97 show. They've also got like Sentinel cars and like Magneto cars.
Yeah.
And
Sentinel cars.
They got little Sentinel
Fuck
heads
those cars.
coming out of the top of them.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going on like now through May 7th. So go get your Rocket League cars if you want, or your X-Men cars if you want. We got a gameplay. Speaking of throwbacks, we got a gameplay overview trailer for Phantom Fury. This is a very strange one because there was a game called Ion Fury, and it was like a throwback Duke Nukem 3D looking game, like a sprite game, right, where you were shooting stuff, and then they spun off with like a top-down shooter called, I believe, Bombshell. It had a lady main character with like a gun with a lot of bullets in it. This is the latest one in that franchise. This is aping Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah.
So it's like all kind of chunky, like lo-fi 3D, but then there's a lot of like, you could drive a car, you could drive a submarine, you could play an arcade game, you can interact with everything in the environment. And a lot of places look specifically like Duke Nukem 3D or Duke Nukem Forever. So it's kind of interesting to see this weird like.
Never thought Duke Nukem Forever would be the goal.
Michael and I did a full sequential Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah.
I let him choose.
He chose Duke Nukem Forever?
It's Michael.
Yeah, that's fair.
Of all the people we know, that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. This looks interesting. It's got kind of a mixed rating right now, but I don't know. I'd still be interested in kind of
like a fun nostalgia play kind of.
Yeah. Kind of throwback.
Yeah.
See what happens. Let's see. And then our last trailer is a Destiny 2, the Final Shape trailer. I bagged on this last week. I'm going to bag on a little bit more this week.
Nice.
The thing that is different here is this whole trailer is narrated by Nathan Fillion. I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago we did a Destiny episode, like 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
Week.
And it was all about Nathan Fillion's character, Cade Six, and how he dies in that expansion. And now it's like he's back.
They're like, no, he was really popular.
This was from this is also like the finale of like the actual Destiny storyline is supposed to be kind of coming to its conclusion. I don't know, man. Like I keep looking at this and going like, this is their last chance to like, if they don't get numbers on this, then there's a clause in their contract where Sony bought them.
Yeah.
And if they don't sell enough, then Sony gets to start taking people off their board of directors and replacing them with Sony personnel. So like, this is kind of their last hurrah. And I don't know if it looks good enough to really be like,
so
oh my God.
A weird thought. And this isn't not in support of Sony or anything, but like, if they can't put together a good, enjoyable game that people want, do they deserve to keep their spot?
I don't think so, personally. I just the worry is that then Sony comes in
and just like
and forces them to start like just cranking out like live service garbage.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other thing that was kind of interesting about this is I saw online people talking about that like. This has been 10 years. Destiny has been a franchise for 10 years. So you literally have people that started playing this game when they were like teenagers that are now like adults. And they're just like, oh man, I started playing this game when I was like 13 and now I'm in my 20s. Like, weird. Gross.
Yeah.
Gross and weird. Stop being 20 or 13.
Passage of time is awful. It'll happen to you.
Let's wrap it up. Let's get a few more things. There's going to be an Xbox Digital Showcase Monday, so maybe the day you're listening to this.
Oh, nice. Watch that. Listen to this. We'll be behind.
Yep. We'll be, by the next Monday, we'll have a podcast out.
So maybe listen to this first.
Yeah.
But if you got this far, you've already listened.
They talked about how they're going to have like 20 different games. Nice. Or no. The last time they had 20 different games.
Oh.
They talked about how they're going to be having Vampire Survivors, 33 Immortals, which is kind of like an online game. And then they are going to be showing Lost Records Bloom and Rage.
What the hell is that?
I swear to God, I can't remember who I recorded.
Bloom and Rage, that's what you order at Outback Steakhouse, right?
Yes. This game was announced at the
Can you tell I'm hungry?
Summer Games Fest, and it's like by the people that made Life is Strange, and it's like four teenage girls in the 80s like finding something. It's basically what's that, Stranger Things, kind of like a Netflix. And then they find like weird shit in the woods with like glowing powers and stuff. And it looks just like
tale as old as time.
Life is Strange with a bunch of girls in the woods.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course the Life is Strange guys are doing Stranger Things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In the woods with girls. So I don't know. Looks fine.
Yeah, it looks fun.
You know,
Bloom and Rage just is a horrible. I just don't.
It looks like Life is Strange. Why is it called Bloom and Rage? It should be Life is Strange. Is it because they sold that trademark?
Yes.
And they're not allowed to make another Life is Strange? Because this is a fucking Life is Strange game.
It is.
Like, this girl's been in Life is Strange.
What could be more strange than the Stranger Things thing that's happening here?
Yeah, I don't know. I also think it's a throwback.
Their character designs are always so nice.
Yeah.
They're like not overdone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even when they're like, we're making an edgy character, it never feels like
they're stylized.
A well put together edgy character. Like this looks like a teenager fucking wearing makeup and doing their thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I like it.
I don't know. The other thing is they're going to be showing off Dungeons of Hinterberg, which is another game, which is a game they keep showing me and I keep just not giving a shit
They're
about.
Like, don't you care? And you're like, not at all.
It's like this young woman and she's in like this village, and then she goes out in this kind of like a hack and slash roguelike thing, and then in between it's like, you're making friends with the guy at the coffee shop, and it just doesn't. It's not doing anything for me. So I don't know. Maybe they'll have some weird shit that I haven't that I don't know about.
Oh, next week's gonna be a fun episode.
Yep. Speaking of Xbox, they put Jedi Survivor on Xbox Game Pass. So if you missed out on that last year, that came out. That should be out by the time you hear this. Also, another Crab's Treasure.
Yeah, I came here instead of playing that.
Yeah.
You're welcome, because I was dying to play it.
Yes. Also, Manor Lords, which is like a medieval village creation simulator thing.
Okay.
Something big. Some
Manor
people
Lords.
into that. Let's see. Zenless Zone Zero finally has a release date. Yep.
So many Z's.
That's the third-person action game by the Hoyo-verse guys, the guys that make Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. It's like a third-person action game set in a kind of futuristic thing.
Yeah, I remember you showing me something about it.
Yep.
And I just really like the character designs.
Yep, me too. They are exceptionally good at making waifus that you're going to pump a bunch of money into your free-to-play game to get. And this is one that's like a third-person action game as opposed to an RPG or a Breath of the Wild ripoff.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to hear when this is going to come out for a long time, and Apple, it was listed on the Apple Store because it's also a mobile game for July 3rd. So we finally have like a release date, at least for the mobile version.
Yeah, which might give us a decent idea about roundabout when it'll come out for console.
Yes. Well, they've also been doing a big PC beta sign up, and so when you think,
I'm scared to sign up for betas now. They got that one phishing scam in that other one.
Oh, yes. Well, this one you can actually do through the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this gives them plenty of time to have a beta in May and then come out with the game in June. So
nice.
Okay, this is really interesting. I don't know how much you know about this, but Call of Duty has really interesting gun skins. Like they have some that are really weird. Where it'll be like, oh, this one's like it's a machine gun, but it's got like an 80s tape deck in the side. When you press the like examine button, it'll do a little animation where they like take the tape out, they put a new tape in, they slam it in, and they hit the play button. On the Call of Duty mobile, there's a skin for one of the heavy machine guns. I've actually never seen a gun skin for Call of Duty that I wanted as much as this one, because what it is a little diorama of a battlefield. So like it's like a battlefield.
Oh my God.
With little guys running around.
What? That's so trippy.
And like the clip is like a crashed plane that you can pull out and put back in. It doesn't even look like a gun. It just looks like
it looks like you're like at a weird angle watching gameplay or something.
And then if you do the examine, it's like this guy comes out and gives this little speech about brothers, and then like this little piece of paper with a squad like flies up to the camera and stuff, and it's just like, what?
Yeah, that's a mind fuck a little bit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I this is
hang on, my gun's at war right now.
Yeah. It's so weird, and like I said, it looks nothing like a gun.
Yeah.
I want to know, I can't quite figure out like if you aim down the iron sights what you're going to be looking through. But maybe there's something even further back, or maybe it's like you've got the little machine gun nest up there that kind of goes to a point.
Yeah.
And then you look between like maybe the little tank traps.
Yeah, I think
or something.
I don't know.
Anyway, you guys should go look it up.
Yeah, because it's like a trip to look at.
It's like a whole video game level that you're holding in your hand.
That's so weird.
Makes me want to do like you remember that game Cocoon that we did where you kept going into the balls?
Yes.
But like for guns, like you keep going into your gun and then they're looking for another world gun inside your gun.
That's kind of fun.
So, yep.
Weird.
Hey, do you want a big X-Men Xbox? An X-Men box?
Yes.
An X-Men box. This is a big Xbox. It's got X-Men art on the sides, including just like full comic panels.
Yeah.
And then like a Wolverine themed yellow and blue and black controller. And you can't buy it because it's one of those you got to enter to win. Yeah.
Yeah. They had other controllers. I think they had like the whole crew and controllers, and because Michael reposted it and he was like, I would buy the Cyclops now, and it's like, nope, can't buy it.
Yeah, they all got all the different controllers.
Have the whole crew.
Yep.
I want Beast.
Those are some nice. Can I zoom in a little bit here? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Gambit's is ugly as.
Well, it's brown like his coat.
Yeah, with like a pink button. I feel like if you just went pink and blue, it would have been better.
I like the
Jubilee's is pink because they were like, we did a lot of yellow already.
Yeah, because Morph's is yellow, Wolverine's is yellow.
Yeah. Beast is cool.
I like the Magneto one. The red and the purple is that's a good color scheme.
That is a good color scheme.
Rogue, I like green and yellow. Those go together pretty well. A lot of blue ones.
Yeah.
You got three. You got Beast, Bishop, and Cyclops. All blue ones. The Storm one just kind of looks like a regular ass Xbox controller.
I was just thinking that.
But with red.
It's really boring. The Cyclops one is really funny because the two
sticks.
The two sticks are red for his eyes.
Right.
But because they're like not even, it looks like his eyes would be like wonkadoo.
That's why he doesn't take that visor off.
That's so funny.
Actually, I think the Storm one might be a little better because I think it's probably got yellow bottom. It's white on the top and then yellow on the bottom.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe
if that's what it is.
If that's what it is.
Same
as if the Jean Grey one is orange on the top, but then like that kind of dark blue on the bottom, that might work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty cool. I wish. Yeah, I do think it's.
Yeah, I don't know why they weren't just sell them. Even limited run, I don't see an issue.
You know what would like the thing is that a little while back, I was thinking about this. Microsoft literally was willing to sell a little magnetic sleeve that you could put around the Xbox that had cutouts for like where the ports and the disc would go because it all vents the top. And it's like, why don't you sell this as something that you can buy? You would sell a lot of them. Like, I get that you want the publicity of having the special thing, but if you just put that on the thing you already sell for customization.
Yeah.
And then sell the controllers and let Michael buy all of them.
And he would, too.
You got to buy all of them.
He's a little freak.
Yeah.
He would just buy the Scott.
He would just buy one of them.
Yeah, it would just be Cyclops.
There's a story on Kotaku that I think that people should maybe read. I mean, I don't know if
just
anybody's
read
ever...
it to us. Read it aloud.
It's so weird. Some guy came down here and paid $90,000 for a copy of Castlevania.
I wish I had $90,000.
Yeah,
and also Castlevania.
There's a part of the story is like, well, we're not really wealthy, but like I do okay, and I'm like, you go fuck yourself.
One of those assholes that's like,
yourself.
We're not rich, we're just very comfortable.
Right?
It's like, yeah, real comfortable on your pile of money.
The interesting thing about this was that there was so in Dallas, there were two brothers that were game collectors, and they spent their entire life collecting like first runs of stuff and buying stuff up and storing it very like well preserved.
Yeah.
And then they never did anything with it, and then they died, and then all of that stuff went into auction.
Yeah, isn't that what collectors do though? Like you just collect it.
I guess.
What would the end goal be of collecting except just to collect?
I mean, sell them for money and then use the money to buy like hookers and stuff. I don't know.
No, they wanted to have those things. That is the goal.
Anyway, so this is a story about a guy, and he saw this just went up on eBay. Like most of this collection has been sold through like this private auction firm that does like grading and stuff.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff is just kind of going up willy-nilly because whoever it was that got access to all of them, which apparently it's a total mystery who that person is just like dumping this stuff. Now that company that does the company that does the like professional stuff have basically purchased all the rest of the stock from this person. But apparently this guy went online and he was notified by his friends that like this thing was on there, and he basically waited until the last second and then bid like $91,000 or $89,500 or something like that for it. He got it. And then it's like him and his buddy flew down here to Dallas, and they got it. And they like wrapped it up in a T-shirt because, you know, if you put it like in a case, then people know you're carrying something expensive.
Yeah.
They saw Ocean's 12, where, you know.
I love that they like. I don't know, but it seems funny to think that somebody would steal Castlevania from you.
Right. Well, this is the first run of Castlevania. Apparently had like little tabs that you pulled up in the back that then put them on like to put them on a wire to put them on a shelf, and only the first run had them. So that's how you identify a first run Castlevania. So then from Texas they went to Florida to have it rated because they weren't rated, and it got rated as like a 95%, basically like A+. They also talk about how like, you remember back when stuff was weird, like the crypto and the pandemic and stuff?
Yes, sir.
They said that, like, he was like, yeah, if this was 4 years ago, this would have gone for $500,000 on auction because people were just sloshing money everywhere. I didn't have any money to slosh.
Yeah, I didn't either. But it makes sense because there was a point in time where during that, like, pandemic era where people were like, I need to get into my collection. I need to get into whatever thing, or nostalgia really took a boom during that time. Yeah. That all makes sense.
Anyway, it's an interesting read, just if you're interested in the kind of like collection market.
I hate it.
Yep. Last but not least, Amanda, I got this one for you.
Just for me?
Somebody in Baldur's Gate 3 really knows what they're doing. I have a screenshot here of somebody who summoned 88 minions into the game.
Yeah.
They retasked every single character into a Spore Cleric, and then they loaded up on all of the optional summons.
Yeah.
And like they dual class some people in like Wizard for a familiar summon, and some people in a Necromancer to do like skeletons, and you've got like a
full army of darkness over here.
Look at the number of different characters behind
like
each character.
A deck of cards. Like, fully.
And it's kind of amazing.
Good luck to whoever's battling them. My God.
Well, you think like, how long does your fucking turn take? It'd take me 2 hours to do one turn. So
yeah, that's insane.
This is on the Baldur's Gate 3 Reddit from somebody named Real Business 6593. So
when you take your honor mode too seriously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. And that's it. We're done.
That's all she wrote?
Yeah. I need to reconsider how I do this because we've gone over on all three of these segments, and I don't need to do that. Patreon.com/RageSelect. Do it.
Fucking pussy.
Yeah. What are you afraid?
What are you, a coward?
All the cool kids are doing it. You got all the way to the end of the podcast. You might as well consider going and give them $5 and come into the server and be like, hey, what's up? And then we'll be like, hey.
Hey.
So, all right. That's it.
Love you.
Bye.